Wei Bai gave him a look that was hard to put into words. Fortunately, the students of High University were very accepting. A few interactions when passing by, a greeting in the restroom, a couple of replies in the group chat, and the atmosphere quickly returned to normal. First, he was Chun Mao's boss, then Ling Si went online, and then he was Little Turtle. The classmates were already numb from the shocks. Fortunately, no matter how shocked they were, Wei Bai, like everyone else, acted like an ordinary university student. In other words, he didn't put on any airs. He was very down-to-earth. If I had created Ling Si, I would definitely be showing off at school every day, giving a lecture today and a speech tomorrow. If I were such a famous singer, I'd wear sunglasses and carry a pen everywhere, ready to sign autographs, huh? If I had such a beautiful girlfriend, forget it, I wouldn't even dare to dream that big. In a classroom, two people were talking in low voices. Suddenly, a message appeared in the department and class group chats. It was a notice from the counselor. Notice of important lecture tomorrow afternoon, dear students. Tomorrow, September 9th, at 1400 hours, in a large classroom 2201, our school's 2020 student Wei Bai will give a presentation on the entrepreneurial journey from 1 to 10. The story behind Ling Si. Students who are interested in entrepreneurship or are preparing projects are requested to attend on time. There will be a live Q&A session. The two of them speak of a lecture, and a lecture appears. Are you going? I've got nothing better to do. Might as well go and listen. As the two were talking, they suddenly saw the class belle, who was sitting in the front row, stand up and walk towards the back. Subconsciously, their gazes followed her movements, until they saw her standing next to Wei Bai. Wei Bai, the class belle seemed a little embarrassed. I really like your songs. Could you give me an autograph? As she spoke, she handed over an album and a black marker. The album was a compilation released after Half a Rainy Day went online, also titled Half a Rainy Day. It contained 7 of Little Turtle's representative works. Releasing a physical album was something Wei Bai was insistent on, though it didn't really make a profit. But he had never expected that someone in his class had actually bought his album. Okay, Wei Bai agreed, took the pen, and signed his name. The female student held the album and thanked him repeatedly. In the front row, the two who had been following the class belle with their eyes were completely speechless. We mention a lecture, and there's a lecture. We talk about an autograph, and here comes an autograph. One of them said doubtfully, "Are we prophets or something?" The other remained silent for a few seconds, and then said, "There's a physical album? I'm buying one too." He also liked Little Turtle and had been listening to Half a Rainy Day on repeat all day. Sold out. How are these guys so fast? Wei Bai. Sold out? The initial run of 10,000 copies sold out in less than a day. In this era of declining physical album sales, it was considered excellent for even popular singers to sell 50,000 to 100,000 copies. For an anonymous singer like Wei Bai, an initial run of 10,000 copies was already a risky move. Unexpectedly, his cover was blown, and the album sold out along with it. Chui Peng came to ask Wei Bai if they should print a few tens of thousands more. Wei Bai thought for a moment and replied that Chui Peng could decide. Although Wei Bai was a bit surprised that the album sold out, he didn't pay much attention to it. This was a business matter, and with Chui Peng in charge, he felt at ease. Now, he had a more important decision to make. On his phone screen was a barrage of messages from Xiaoxia. Xiaoxia, you and Man absolutely, positively have to attend the welcome party this weekend. Xiaoxia, please, I'll give you the headline slot. Xiaoxia, Man said she doesn't mind. If you agree, she'll agree. Xiaoxia, I'll bye. We're practically sworn siblings. My eligibility to run for student council president next semester all depends on this. Yeah, classmate Xie has already agreed. Then there's no problem. Only after asking classmate Xie and getting confirmation did Wei Bai reply to Xiaoxia. Wei Bai, okay. This week, Wei Bai received many invitations. Music festivals, large-scale galas, and even variety shows. The flood of offers was comparable to the one after the Ling Si live stream. Wei Bai didn't have time and rejected them all. The only one he didn't refuse was the university's own welcome party. As the university's major online celebrities, Zhou Yan and Lin Shanshan also received invitations. What the hell? The director actually wants me to sing a love song with Lin Shan Shan. I have a girlfriend. How could I possibly sing a love song with Lin Shan Shan? I want a solo, or I'm not going. Wei Bai gave him a look that was hard to put into words. Fortunately, the students of High University were very accepting. A few interactions when passing by, a greeting in the restroom, a couple of replies in the group chat, and the atmosphere quickly returned to normal. First, he was Chun Mao's boss, then Lingxi went online, and then he was Little Turtle. The classmates were already numb from his shocks. Fortunately, no matter how shocked they were, Wei Bai, like everyone else, acted like an ordinary university student. In other words, he didn't put on any airs. He was very down-to-earth. If I had created Lingxi, I would definitely be showing off at school every day, giving a lecture today and a speech tomorrow. If I were such a famous singer, I wear sunglasses and carry a pen everywhere, ready to sign autographs, haha. If I had such a beautiful girlfriend, forget it, I wouldn't even dare to dream that big. In the classroom, two people were talking in low voices. Suddenly, a message appeared in the department and class group chats. It was a notice from the counselor. Notice of important lecture tomorrow afternoon, dear students. Tomorrow, September 9th, at 1400 hours, in the large classroom 2201, our school's 2020 student Wei Bai will give a presentation on the entrepreneurial journey from 1 to 10. The story behind Lingxi. Students who are interested in entrepreneurship or are preparing projects are requested to attend on time. There will be a live Q&A session. The two of them speak of a lecture, and a lecture appears. Are you going? I've got nothing better to do. Might as well go and listen. As the two were talking, they suddenly saw the class belle, who was sitting in the front row, stand up and walk towards the back. Subconsciously, their gazes followed her movements, until they saw her standing next to Wei Bai. Wei Bai, the class belle seemed a little embarrassed. I really like your songs. Could you give me an autograph? As she spoke, she handed over an album and a black marker. The album was a compilation released after Half a Rainy Day went online, also titled Half a Rainy Day. It contained 7 of Little Turtle's representative works. Releasing a physical album was something Wei Bai was insistent on, though it didn't really make a profit. But he had never expected that someone in his class had actually bought his album. Okay, Wei Bai agreed, took the pen, and signed his name. The female student held the album and thanked him repeatedly. In the front row, the two who had been following the class belle with their eyes were completely speechless. We mention a lecture, and there's a lecture. We talk about an autograph, and here comes an autograph. One of them said doubtfully, "Are we prophets or something?" The other remained silent for a few seconds, and then said, "There's a physical album? I'm buying one too." He also liked Little Turtle, and had been listening to Half a Rainy Day on repeat all day. Folks, who gets it? You like a singer, only to find out he's your classmate? Sold out. How are these guys so fast? Wei Bai. Sold out? The initial run of 10,000 copies sold out in less than a day. In this era of declining physical album sales, it was considered excellent for even popular singers to sell 50,000 to 100,000 copies. For an anonymous singer like Wei Bai, an initial run of 10,000 copies was already a risky move. Unexpectedly, his cover was blown, and the album sold out along with it. Chui Peng came to ask Wei Bai if they should print a few tens of thousands more. Wei Bai thought for a moment, and replied that Chui Peng could decide. Although Wei Bai was a bit surprised that the album sold out, he didn't pay much attention to it. This was a business matter, and with Chui Peng in charge, he felt at ease. Now, he had a more important decision to make. On his phone screen was a barrage of messages from Xiaoxia. Xiaoxia, you and Man absolutely, positively have to attend the welcome party this weekend. Xiaoxia, please. I'll give you the headline slot. Xiaoxia, Man said she doesn't mind. If you agree, she'll agree. Xiaoxia, I'll bye-bye. We're practically sworn siblings. My eligibility to run for student council president next semester all depends on this. Yeah, classmate Xie has already agreed. Then there's no problem. Only after asking classmate Xie and getting confirmation did Wei Bai reply to Xiaoxia. Wei Bai, okay. This week, Wei Bai received many invitations. Music festivals, large-scale galas, and even variety shows. The flood of offers was comparable to the one after the Lingxi live stream. Wei Bai didn't have time and rejected them all. The only one he didn't refuse was the university's own welcome party. As the university's major online celebrities, Zhou Yin and Lin Shanshan also received invitations. What the hell? The director actually wants me to sing a love song with Lin Shanshan. I have a girlfriend. How could I possibly sing a love song with Lin Shanshan? I want a solo, or I'm not going. On Wednesday night, Zhou Yin was ranting furiously in his dorm room. I'm not acting like a diva. Their design was just unreasonable. Zhou Yin complained while battling it out with the director. In the end, the Great War concluded with Zhou Yan's complete victory. He secured a solo performance, with 6 freshmen as his backup dancers. Zhou Yin was delighted. Brother Bai, you don't have backup dancers, right? Wei Bai did not. A lyrical song like Half a Rainy Day wasn't suitable for backup dancers anyway. It would be enough for him and classmate Xia to stand on stage and sing gently. Zhou Yin then started talking about what to wear for the gala and how to interact with the audience. He chattered on, and Wei Bai didn't really listen to the latter half. Wei Bai was chatting with classmate Xia. Classmate Xia. Xia said, we are the surprise finale, so we don't need to go to the rehearsal on Friday. Wei Bai, that's great. Want to go see a movie on Friday night, then? Classmate Simp. The two started talking about movies. Zhou Yin, a suit? This casual suit should be okay, right? But it might be a bit hot, and if it doesn't match the styling, it'll look too formal. What about a shirt? A shirt could work, one of those silk-like ones that shows a bit of neck. Ah, no, that's too sexy. My Yuan will get upset. I should just wear a t-shirt with a cool design. This one, with a pink print? I could get some pink highlights in my hair to match it beforehand. What do you guys think? Pan Kong didn't quite hear clearly, but he nodded. I think that'll work. Ning Wuchao only heard pink hair, and he also nodded. Pink is good. Wei Bai heard nothing, but that didn't stop him from casting a vote of approval. Sounds good. Zhou Yin. But now I feel like pink highlights are a bit too frivolous. Maybe I should change it to orange? I also have a shirt with an orange print. Huh. Wei Bai suddenly realized that Zhou Yin was a little nervous. It was normal. After all, this was Zhou Yin's first time participating in the school's gala. Zhou Yin, Brother Bai, what are you wearing? Let's not wear the same thing. You're not dyeing your hair, are you? Wei Bai smiled. I'm not. After a pause, he continued. I'm wearing the Makeo culture t-shirt. Zhou Yin. Senior Xia. A girl in a pink cocktail dress and high heels came clicking over to Xia. Her name was Xiao Yujia, one of tonight's hosts and also one of the most watched freshmen. The show is about to start. Are the finale guests really coming? Xiao Yujia's face was etched with anxiety. She had heard that Xian Yumin was very aloof and never appeared at any school activities. Wei Bai was also very low-key. It was rumored online that he had turned down numerous performance and variety show invitations. Would 2 people who didn't even participate in major productions and big shows really show up as promised for tonight's welcome gala? As a host, Xiao Yujia hadn't even met them yet. Xia guaranteed. Don't worry, they'll be here for sure. Xiao Yujia was still a bit skeptical. Is there no plan B? Xiao Yujia asked, what if they bail? Who will perform the finale? Xia, that's not a possibility. Xiao Yujia, but the gala is about to start, and they haven't shown up. Xia, oh, just relax and be a good host. With that, Xia hurried off to get busy. Xiao Yujia had no choice but to rejoin the other 3 hosts. There were 4 hosts in total, 2 seniors and 2 freshmen. Seeing Xiao Yujia return, the male freshman host asked, how did it go? Did senior Xia give a plan B? Xiao Yujia shook her head. No, senior Xia said there's no way they'll bail on us. The male freshman host was just as worried as Xiao Yujia. Lin Shanshan was adjusting her mermaid-style evening gown. What's there to worry about? Relax, Wei Bai and Xian Yumin aren't the type of people to bail. Xiao Yujia, at the military training gala the day before yesterday, the person who was supposed to dance last bailed on us. We only found out later that she had run off on a date with her drill instructor. Lin Shanshan's eyes lit up. Wow, Xiao Yujia, a big boss like Wei Bai, and a rich young lady like Xian Yumin. Shouldn't they be even more unpredictable? Lin Shanshan, not at all. They're just like regular university students. Plus, they do what they say they'll do. Their word is their bond. Xiao Yujia, senior, are you very close with them? She always felt that Wei Bai and Xian Yumin were like major celebrities who belonged in business magazines and entertainment headlines, far too distant from them. Lin Shanshan, huh? You don't know? Wei Bai is my boss. Xiao Yujia and the male freshman host were both stunned. Then, it dawned on Xiao Yujia. No wonder they agreed to come to the welcome gala. It must be out of respect for you, Senior Shanshan. Lin Shanshan coughed a couple of times, embarrassed. I don't have that kind of pull. They came for Xia. Senior Xia? Xiao Yujia asked curiously. Is Senior Xia very close with them? Lin Shanshan's tone was not without a hint of jealousy, as if they were their parents. Xiao Yujia, the new male host. A single sentence, and their respect for Xiao Xia soared. The grand auditorium gradually filled with people. The lights and music were all in place. Lin Shanshan did a final run-through of the program with the other three, checked her gown and makeup in a full-length mirror, and prepared to go on stage in 5 minutes. Just then, she noticed that Xiao Yujia and the new male host were frozen like wax figures. Xiao Yujia, Lin Shanshan called out, what's wrong with you? Xiao Yujia snapped back to reality. I saw a goddess. Lin Shanshan walked over and followed her gaze. A Mu Chao brand t-shirt paired with slim-fit jeans, seemingly casually curled hair, and rare light makeup, a face as if molded by the goddess Nuwa herself. Suddenly, Lin Shanshan felt that the fishtail evening gown she was wearing was incredibly ugly. That's Xian Yumin, Lin Shanshan said, our high university's campus belle. Xiao Yujia gasped, oh my god, she's so much more beautiful than in photos and videos. In fact, Senior Wei Bai, standing next to the campus belle, was also very handsome. However, the campus belle was so perfectly dazzling that at first glance, Xiao Yujia didn't notice anyone else. When she appeared, everyone else in the grand auditorium faded into the background. Only someone who looks like that is worthy of being called the campus belle. Xiao Yujia murmured, feeling ashamed of her own title as the freshman campus belle. A minor beauty like her would probably become invisible standing next to the real campus belle, right? Chapter 556. Get married, get married, get married. The entrance music began to play. The host took the stage. Wei Bai and Xian Yumin sat in the seats Xiao Xia had saved for them beforehand, watching Lin Shanshan and the other hosts go on stage. Speaking of which, we didn't attend or even watch the welcoming gala in the year we enrolled, Wei Bai said. Xian Yumin said softly, Xian asked me to come and dance, but I didn't agree. Wei Bai, then why did you agree for Xiao Xia this year? Her small dimples surfaced in a slight smile. Because you couldn't dance with me, but you can sing with me. She liked standing on stage together. She liked being praised by everyone as a match made in heaven. Yes, the lighting in the grand auditorium was very pleasant. Wei Bai turned his head to look at his classmate Xia. With light makeup on, her skin is as fair and tender as a baby's, her eyelashes curled up slightly, and her eyes sparkled brightly. He liked it too. He liked singing with his classmate Xia. He liked standing together with his classmate Xia, facing either goodwill or storms. A magic show was currently performing on stage. Zhou Yin was backstage, preparing to go on. He had his hair highlighted with pink, paired with a pink-printed t-shirt and beige pants, and even tied a ribbon as a belt, dressed up like a celebrity. Xiao Yujia was somewhat stunned. Zhou Yin is really handsome in person, too. Lin Shanshan rolled her eyes. Only Xinyue Yuan can stand him. Xiao Yujia. Xinyue Yuan is? Lin Shanshan, his girlfriend. Oh. Xiao Yujia couldn't help but feel a little disappointed. She had thought that once she got to university, she could have a campus romance with handsome seniors. Unexpectedly, they were only sophomores, and all the handsome seniors were already taken. Senior Shanshan, Xiao Yujia asked, do you think campus romances can last? Lin Shanshan thought for a moment. I'm not sure about others, but Wei Bai and Xian Yumin definitely can. Xiao Yujia asked why. Weren't the relationships of wealthy heiresses like Xian Yumin the most unpredictable? A smile appeared on Lin Shanshan's face. You haven't seen them interact. That flowing atmosphere, that burgeoning love. It's hard to explain, but anyone who knows them would understand. I've never seen that kind of feeling in other couples. Xiao Yujia suddenly felt an indescribable emotion in her heart. Was it perhaps the realization that she wasn't particularly outstanding at university, that the outstanding seniors had even more outstanding girls by their sides. This was disappointment, wasn't it? She took a deep breath, reminding herself to be wary of this mentality. The era in high school when all the handsome and outstanding boys revolved around her was over. Now, at High University, she had met many outstanding classmates and upperclassmen. She should adjust her attitude, continue to work hard, and shine with her own light. Yujia, get ready to go on stage. Lin Shanshan's reminder came from beside her. Xiao Yujia pulled herself together, a gentle smile blooming on her face. Coming. So boring. Everything else is fine, but that crosstalk just now almost put me to sleep. Is it almost over? I have to pee. I'm leaving first. Don't. It's probably almost over. Let's go after watching it. I really have to pee. On stage, Xiao Yujia and Lin Shanshan were reciting their hosting lines one after another. Tonight, we have witnessed many wonderful performances and felt the vitality and talent of High University students. But the real surprise often arrives quietly at the very end. Next, these two guests, you may not have seen them, but you've definitely heard their names, heard their songs. An uproar erupted from below the stage. Holy crap, no way. It can't be who I think it is, right? I just saw them in the audience. It might really be them. But I heard those two basically never participate in campus events. If it's really them, I'm going to die of happiness. Wait, didn't you have to pee? Why aren't you going? Held it in. On stage, Lin Shanshan extended her left arm. Next, let's welcome today's mysterious guests, the legends of High University, Wei Bai and Simp. Whoa! Thundering applause swept from below the stage. Holy crap! Holy crap! It's really them. Wei Bai and Simp are singing for me. Half a Rainy Day. This is the intro to Half a Rainy Day. They're coming out, they're coming out. Graphic tees, jeans. They walked out, each standing before one of the two microphone stands in the center of the stage. The two were dressed so simply they looked like they had just come from the company, yet so beautiful and handsome they seemed to have stepped out of painting. Just by standing there, standing in the intro of Half a Rainy Day, they made the entire audience quiet down involuntarily. Simp slowly began to sing. Her clear voice carried a sweetness as soft as a cloud. Dark clouds mute the city to silence / I hide inside your jacket / listening to the metronome of a heartbeat. 2 lines of lyrics, and the atmosphere in the venue grew even quieter. Almost everyone stopped talking, holding their breath as if on a pilgrimage, listening to this heavenly voice. It was too beautiful. Live was 10,000 times better than the recording. Wei Bai turned to look at her, his eyes full of smile. Her singing always had a unique narrative quality, carrying a distinctive aura and emotion. This was his classmate Xie, the one who understood him best, and the one who understood his music best. Amid their sweet exchange of glances, Wei Bai slowly began to sing. Raindrops disrupt the street corner's rhythm / but point you towards me / like fate secretly hitting confirm. No backup dancers, no complex stage design. Just 2 people, 2 mic stands, and they pulled everyone present into a heart-pounding atmosphere. This faint, summer-like palpitation made everyone's heart float up in comfort. And Wei Bai and Simp were immersed only in their own world. They began to sing a duet. Half a rainy day / half of you. Half a love song / just enough for me to hide inside. The umbrella's edge is too low / the world is only your breath. On my tiptoes / I turn my affection into ripples. They didn't kiss, didn't hug, didn't even hold hands. Just simple eye contact and natural, easy smiles. But the audience below was already smiling like doting ants. If the rain / keeps falling till tomorrow, can we then / as a matter of course turn goodbye and to see you tomorrow? The unfinished half sentence follows the eaves secretly sprouting. The rain has stopped, the song has stopped. OHWO. The rain stopped, the song stopped. The expression on everyone's face changed from to. Even the most indifferent person couldn't help but smile after hearing such a love song. The instrumental ended. Wei Bai smiled and took classmate Xie's hand, bowing slowly. The audience applauded like seals, the shouts growing stronger with each wave. Wei Bai, Simp. Wei Bai, Simp. Get married, get married, get married. Yeah. How did the chanting somehow turn into get married? Are they even at the legal age for marriage? However, while marriage was still a long way off, getting engaged was just around the corner. No need to share that news with everyone, right? Time to go, time to go. Wei Bai led classmate Xie by her soft hand, gradually exiting the stage amidst the cheers and shouts. Chapter 557, Carrot Carrot. Meanwhile, the aftershock from Half a Rainy Day was still spreading through the venue. Listening to that makes me want to fall in love. With so many underclassmen here, I refuse to believe not one of them is for me. Bro, underclassmen of any gender, at a time like this, who's picky about gender? I accept your confession. Huh, I haven't even confessed yet. Then confess now. Oh, I like you. I wish I could date someone like Senior Wei Bai. You wish. I'd like to date a campus belle, but look at me. Am I worthy? On stage, the four hosts were giving their closing remarks, and Wei Bai and Simp had already left the auditorium, hand in hand. Although they sang Half a Rainy Day, there was no rain tonight, and the wind was exceptionally cool. Not far away, a crowd was cheering in the light, and they stood outside the auditorium, enjoying the liveliness behind them and the autumn night before them. Classmate Xie, I think the performance felt pretty good, Wei Bai said. As a singer, you really need feedback from a live audience. Music is an art form that gains more vitality through dissemination and flow. Just now, Wei Bai had felt that flow, and the feeling of standing on stage with classmate Xie was simply too wonderful. So much, so that even though it was over, Wei Bai was still savoring the memory. Simp nodded. Let's hold a concert. Wei Bai, isn't a concert a bit far off? Maybe we could go to some music festivals when we have time. Her small dimples bloomed. Classmate Little Turtle, please walk independently. Don't create a package deal. Wei Bai, he was determined to be a package deal, spreading their public displays of affection everywhere. Those who enjoyed are in for a treat. Carrot Carrot. Chatting, the two of them slowly walked toward the campus exit. When they reached their residential complex, they stopped by a supermarket to restock on snacks and fruit before heading home. As soon as he got home, Wei Bai received an excited voice message from Xiao Xia, and only then did he realize that the matter of him and classmate Xie singing Half a Rainy Day at the welcome gala was a trending topic. Wait, it became a trending topic in the time it took me to get home. It seems this year's freshmen are quite capable when it comes to pushing topics to the top. He clicked on Weibo to take a look. Although it was a trending topic, it was ranked in the 20s. But when he clicked in, there were a lot of comments. That was so beautiful. To be able to sing with such effect, even with this crappy mic and sound system. I'm begging you to hold a concert. Oh my God, did these two just get on stage wearing cultural shirts? They're so laid back, aren't they? After listening to Zhou Yin sing, hearing Wei Bai and Simp song is like heavenly music clearing my ears. Haha. Sorry, Zhou Yin. I admit you're handsome, but your voice totally cracked. Their singing is so stable, I dare say they could beat 99% of the professional singers in the Chinese entertainment industry. The song is great, and the atmosphere between the two of them is absolutely amazing. How can they be so comfortable, relaxed, and so full of love? Kiss WL, Carrot, Carrot was the person who shouted get married at the end for real. Haha, get married. Get married. I approve. Wei Bai scrolled through them briefly, an unconscious smile spreading across his lips. The netizens have good taste. However, they wore the cultural shirts not because they were laid back, but to take the opportunity to promote Mu Chao culture, coupled with Lin Shanshan's hosting and Zhou Yan's performance. If anyone was thinking of starting a self-media business, they would probably consider their Mu Chao culture first, right? Simp was also reading the comments. She was still furiously liking all the comments that praised them for being a good match and a sweet couple. Like. MHM. It was after 10 o'clock at night. Yuli saw Wei Bai and Simp's duet at the #1 spot on the trending list. The video quality was average, and the sound quality was even worse. But Yuli watched it once, then watched it again, a fond, ant-like smile on her face. Looking at the comments, Yuli was even more satisfied. The public has a discerning eye. Her Man and Bai are a perfect match. She downloaded the video and sent it to Yue. She also took some screenshots of the comments. Yuli, kiss WL. Yue, upon receiving the message, frowned. What does KSWL mean? At her age, can't Yuli be normal? As for the comments in the video, since Yue had already agreed to Simp and Wei Bai's relationship, she naturally wouldn't go back on her word. However, her approval was one thing. But was it necessary for her to pay attention to how their relationship was going? She was very busy, unlike Yu Li, who was semi-retired. After finishing the work at hand, Yue left the study. It was already past midnight. She usually went to bed very late and never touched her phone before sleeping. Tonight, for some reason, she picked up her phone and clicked on the video Yuli had sent her. In the video, Simp was wearing a cultural shirt that cost a few dozen yuan, standing on a simple stage, with a smile on her face that she had never seen before. Yue watched the video in silence. Then, she clicked on the screenshots Yuli had sent her. From these comments, she guessed what KSWL meant and also learned that the song Simp and Wei Bai had sung was called Half a Rainy Day. That night, Yue went to bed even later than usual, because she opened a music streaming app and listened to many songs by Little Turtle and classmate Xie. The next day, Yue didn't arrive at the company until the afternoon. Secretary Zhu found it strange but didn't dare to ask. She was currently coordinating the details of the October 3rd engagement banquet with Yu Li's secretary. The venue for the engagement banquet was set at the European Main Building and English Garden of a property in Beijing. This place was originally an embassy villa, and the property rights were now in Yue's hands. An 180-person-long table would be set up in the 800-square-meter main hall and the 5,000-square-meter garden, with its natural axis of symmetry formed by plane trees, would serve as the location for the after-party. The schedule for the day was to begin at 3:30 p.m. 15:30 to 16:30 is for the red carpet and media. 16:30 to 1700 hours, the world's top orchestra will perform a string quartet in the main hall to welcome the guests. At 1700 hours, the new couple will make their appearance to the strains of Mendelssohn's A Midsummer Night's Dream. Next is the wedding contract signing ceremony, the long table banquet toasts, and the after party from 19:30 to 20:30. From 20:30 to 2100 hours, there will also be a fireworks display, during which 3,000 drones will form the four characters "Heart has a spiritual connection." Secretary Zhu carefully went over the schedule, wondering if there were any details or loopholes she had missed. The venue was secure, the orchestra was signed, backup plans were made, airspace application was completed, the menu and wine list were finalized, media invitations were sent, table flowers and lighting rehearsals were done, drone night flight drills were conducted, ingredients were airlifted and refrigerated, security was in place. This wasn't an engagement banquet. This was a tough battle. At 5 in the afternoon, the 4-hour conference call finally ended. Only then did Secretary Zhu have time to drink a cup of coffee and continue to refine the plan, including guest gifts and media placement. The total budget was 106 million. If any part of this went wrong, she would have to resign in disgrace. The #1 trending topic, #Weibo and Simp reunite at the Ocean University welcoming party hashtag. No matter how much she wanted to avoid their news, she still saw that glaring red word explosive. In the end, Suya couldn't resist and clicked on the video. In the video, Weibo looked at Simp with such loving eyes. They stood together and sang such a deeply affectionate and heartfelt song. In her dreams, he would only show that kind of look to Suya, would only write that kind of song for Suya. But reality was the opposite of her dreams. In reality, Simp had stolen everything from her, and she could only cry silently in this dark room. As if torturing herself, Suya read the comments. In the comments, everyone was saying that the song was beautiful. That Weibo and Simp were a perfect match, and even eye-stinging words like marriage appeared. In the overwhelming flood of comments, Suya hugged herself. She had been abandoned by the whole world. No one knew that she was the girl Weibo was supposed to love deeply. No one knew that she was the one who should have been standing in the center of the stage, surrounded by applause and cheers. Lately, it had become harder and harder to fall asleep, idle, with no future, as if falling into an abyss. Every night, she slept lightly and no longer had that dream about Weibo. Suya looked at the phone screen, at Weibo and Simp smiling at each other, and murmured, "Tonight, let me have a sweet dream again." In the dream, Weibo loves me, Everyone loves me. That night, Suya dreamed again. Miraculously, her dreams were like a TV series, always picking up from where they left off. In the dream, Suya was with Zhen Hongxian. Suya became a famous singer. Zhen Hongxian became a young entrepreneur. Wei Bo, on the other hand, was the person silently supporting them from behind. In their sophomore year, at the welcoming party, Suya and Zhen Hongxian were the finale, causing a sensation and trending on the hot search. Everyone praised her singing and envied her divine love. Even Simp, who was also a singer, was far inferior to her in terms of popularity and sales. She was called the ceiling of light-colored beauties, a born diva, the campus belle of Ocean University. Wherever she went, it was like a princess's outing. Lights, cheers, flowers, and applause would only belong to her. She was extremely happy in her dream. Until one day, Wei Bo proposed to quit. I wrote all those songs. Wei Bo looked very pained, but they bear someone else's name. Yeah, I don't want to go on like this anymore. Suya saw herself clutching Wei Bo's sleeve, looking at him with that innocent and pitiful look she always used. Your lyrics and composition have such a unique style. If you go solo, Zhen Hongxuan's impersonation will be exposed. Then he'll be finished, and I'll be finished too. Wei Bo looked at her. So, why did you? In the dream, Suya anxiously interrupted Wei Bo. I was just confused for a moment. But now that things are like this, bye-bye. Do you have the heart to ruin my career? I can't live without you. Bye-bye. We had a deal. You were going to write songs for me for the rest of your life. Wei Bo seemed to be persuaded, or perhaps fell in a great pain. Okay, I promise you. As long as it's your request, I'll agree to anything. Suya smiled. Others don't know, but I know you are the lyricist and composer. Bye-bye. You are the best musician. Yaya will always recognize and support you. Wei Bo's struggle was easily smoothed over. The days passed in a blaze of glory. Suya became more and more famous. Zhen Hongxian became more and more successful. They often appeared on screen as the golden couple, becoming the hottest on-screen pair in the great Xia, but no one knew who Wei Bo was. Until one day, a post online sparked a heated discussion, exposing the man behind Suya and Zhen Hongxian, the true musical genius, Wei Bo. The post clearly detailed the relationship between the three and the fact that Wei Bo was the lyricist and composer. Moreover, as if someone was intentionally paying to boost its popularity, the post blew up no matter how Suya and Zhen Hongxian tried to suppress it. Unexpectedly, no one believed it at all. Everyone was cursing Wei Bo, calling him a rat in the gutter who was so obsessed with his secret love for Suya that he would fabricate such a ridiculous story. The artists in their company, as well as Zhen Hongxuan's former classmates, also came forward to vouch for Zhen Hongxian. In their accounts, Zhen Hongxian had loved music since he was a child and was incredibly talented. Suya was his musical muse, and their fateful meeting led to the creation of so many beautiful songs. One lie requires countless others to cover it up. Lie after lie had long made it impossible for Suya to distinguish what was a lie and what was not. Facing the reporter's questions, she lightly denied the post's authenticity. It's too absurd, she laughed. No one would believe it, right? Yes, it was too absurd. No one would believe it. It was so absurd that Suya herself didn't know why she would have such a preposterous dream. The overwhelming doxing and cyberbullying crushed Wei Bo. He developed depression. The boy who was once so full of sunshine became unrecognizable. He began to fear going out, fear the sunlight, fear meeting acquaintances. He became a universally despised existence. Suya's heart was breaking into pieces, but the her in the dream knew nothing. She took Wei Bo's contributions for granted, even complaining that he was writing songs too slowly and that their quality was too low. Until, years later, after her wedding of the century with Zhen Hongxian, Wei Bo committed suicide. It was a quiet afternoon. Just like that, Wei Bo calmly ingested the hundreds of sleeping pills he had been saving for a long time. No. Suya woke up with a scream. She gasped for air, breathing heavily. It was just a dream. Thankfully, it was just a dream, but Suya's mind was still in turmoil. How could she have such a ridiculous dream? She should have dreamt. She should have dreamt that she and Wei Bo had become a couple envied by all. When a person is at their lowest, even their dreams bully them. thinking about how in the dream, when she rushed to the hospital, she was met with the words resuscitation failed. Her heart ached so much it was almost suffocating. The her in the dream was so thoughtless. She had actually driven Wei Bo to his death. Thinking of the dream's ending, Suya silently shed 2 streams of tears. Even if it was just a dream, her pain and sorrow were real. How could she have hurt Wei Bo like that? She, more than Simp Yuman, more than anyone, cherished Wei Bo the most. In just over a month, he would be out of prison. When Brother Xian returns, the winds of Lu City will change. All those who had once humiliated him and humiliated Suya will have to pay it all back. Thinking of the past humiliations, Zhan Hongxian clenched his fists, a sharp glint in his eyes. For the past few days, he had been dreaming every day. In his dreams, he got into high university and, through his own efforts and some external help, became a powerful and influential CEO. Suya, naturally, was his pampered little wife. The events of the dream were still vivid in his mind. Once he was out of prison, as long as he followed the hints from his dream and wrote out those songs that could make a fortune, he would surely soar to success. As for Wei Bo, Wei Bo was probably still a good little university student, right? Once he was out and had become a CEO, even if Wei Bo came to his company to interview for a security guard position, he wouldn't hire him. Chapter 559 ==. And Chun Mao. In the dream, he had made a lot of money with Chun Mao. But Chun Mao had long betrayed him. Now, not only would he not lead Chun Mao to wealth, but he would also humiliate him severely. Even if Chun Mao were to wag his tail and beg at his feet, he would not help him make a fortune. Zhan Hongxian, hurry up and clean the toilets. All you know is how to slack off. Li Aoyan's harsh and sharp voice exploded behind him. A look of humiliation flashed across Zhan Hongxian's face. Li Aoyan, just because he had the warden's favor, he dared to humiliate him like this. Zhan Hongxian gritted his teeth, telling himself not to be impulsive. His release was imminent. He couldn't afford any more trouble. He and Li Aoyan were getting out around the same time. Once he was out, he would have a good talk with Li Aoyan. By then, humph, turning around, Zhan Hongxian gripped the broom as if it were his weapon. The moment Li Aoyan saw his expression, he knew he was lost in some daydream again. After a year in prison, Li Aoyan was no longer the same Li Aoyan who had wanted to be a gang leader. Taught by his time in prison, he had long understood that his former self, much like the present Zhan Hongxian, was quite laughable. This year, he worked diligently and learned vocational skills in prison. Now, he was already an expert at making steam buns and planned to work and save some money after his release to open a bun shop. The thought of regaining his freedom soon filled Li Aoyan's heart with hope. At this moment, looking at Zhan Hongxian again, he felt nothing but contempt. He was terrible at learning anything, only knowing how to pursue his dream of being a big boss. For the past 2 days, he had been shouting about becoming a big boss and making a lot of money in the future. Is it that easy to be a big boss? Is it that easy to make big money? Li Aoyan shook his head, thinking this person was hopeless. The National Day holiday was just over a week away. Wei Bo wished this week plus would pass in an instant. So the next second, he would be standing at the engagement ceremony with classmate Xie. He rarely spent his days counting down the time like this. He couldn't help it. He was just too excited. Before the engagement, she was his girlfriend. After the engagement, she would be his fiancée. Fiancé. What a beautiful word. Although it meant not yet married, it still had the word wife in it. Wife. Hee. Thinking of this, Wei Bo started to smile. What are you smiling about? Simp Yuman asked him. Wei Bo said with a straight face, I was thinking that in just over a week, classmate Xie will become my fiancée. Simp Yuman was taken aback for a moment. Then her small dimples slowly blossomed. To be precise, there are 10 days left. 10 more days. This little turtle would be her fiancé. Fiancé. Simp Yuman placed these words on the tip of her tongue, mouthing them silently. Every time she sounded them out in her heart would flutter again and again. Everything seemed so unreal. It was so real, so captivating. But with only 10 days left, I need to hurry up. Classmate Xie, why do I get the feeling you're hiding something from me? Wei Bo asked. Simp Yuman tilted her head slightly. I'm not. Damn. How did he figure out? But she couldn't admit it. She was rehearsing a classical dasha dance to perform for him alone, all for the sake of proposing to him. Weibo didn't press the issue, because he was also a little flustered right now. After learning the engagement date, he had ordered a graph diamond ring, planning to make up for the proposal ceremony for classmate Xie. But now, with only 10 days until the engagement party, the custom-made diamond ring had not yet arrived. The diamond ring isn't going to be late, is it? He had asked Hu Jingxian to help him order the ring, and at the time, Hu Jingxian had guaranteed it would be in his hands within a month. But now, almost a month had passed. Just as he was worrying, he received a message from Hu Jingxian on his phone. Hu Jingxian, I'll be back in Haicheng on Wednesday to deliver the ring. Weibo was overjoyed. Wednesday, that was in 3 days. Big Sis Xian really was reliable. He couldn't hide his joy. Xian Yumin found it strange. Who are you chatting with that's making you so happy? Weibo, it's a secret. Xian Yumin, oof. Since it's a secret, it must be related to the engagement. I'm looking forward to it. My little turtle. Just then, Xiao Xia created a temporary group chat for the three of them. Xiao Xia, let's go on a trip for the National Day holiday. Xiao Xia, it's too crowded in the country. How about we go to Southeast Asia, to the land of Sawisti Ka? Nan Iliao said he's been before, and it's fun with great food. Weibo and Xian Yumin looked at the invitation from Xiao Xia, then at each other in dismay. Classmate Xia, didn't you tell Xiao Xia we're getting engaged on October 3rd? Xian Yumin, Classmate Wei, you didn't tell Xiao Xia either. The two of them. To avoid unnecessary trouble, Weibo hadn't told his friends about it. But Xiao Xia was different. He had assumed the girls would have mentioned it to each other. So, the conclusion was that Xiao Xia didn't know they were getting engaged. Weibo had a feeling Xiao Xia was about to explode. But he still replied calmly, we have plans for the National Day holiday. Xiao Xia, what plans? Don't tell me it's work again. I'm telling you, bye-bye. Don't be such a workaholic at your young age. Holidays are for resting. Weibo heard a light chuckle. He turned his head and saw that classmate Xie was indeed looking a bit amused. Weibo said helplessly, you're still laughing. Xian Yumin's expression turned serious. How about we invite our friends to join? Weibo, hasn't the guest list already been finalized? At his aunt's request, Weibo had been forced to familiarize himself with everyone on the guest list. Part of it consisted of relatives from both sides, and the other part. Some names shocked even Weibo. His aunt reminded him that these names would not appear in the media. In any case, Weibo was clear that he and classmate Xie were genuinely in love and looking forward to their engagement. But this engagement, apart from love, also had some business purposes. It was very important for both Lingxi and the Xie family business. Therefore, Weibo didn't suggest inviting his own friends. It's already been decided, Xian Yumin said softly, but we can add people. Weibo thought for a moment, and suddenly felt that if his friends were willing to come and witness it, that would be wonderful. Should I ask my aunt then? Weibo asked. Xian Yumin nodded gently. Adding a dozen or so friends to the engagement party. What's the big deal? Just add them. It was perfect. She had been worried the guests were all a bit too high profile and that the atmosphere might be lacking. Now the atmosphere was bringing itself. Yuli said it was no problem and told Weibo and Xian Yumin to draft a list for her. In the chat window, Xiao Xia was still asking Weibo what he was doing on October 1 ST. She was also frantically tagging Xian Yumin, pitching her 4-person Sawistika trip. Weibo replied, I'm getting engaged on October 3 RD. Xiao Xia, Sigma, Xiao Xia, shocked face meme. Xiao Xia, are you kidding me? Weibo calmly extended the invitation. Ms. Tang Xiaoxia and Mr. Liaoinan are formally invited to the engagement ceremony of myself and classmate Xie. A formal invitation will follow in a few days. Xiao Xia == Chapter 560, The 10-3 Squad. Weibo and Xian Yumin are getting engaged. The news spread like wildfire through their university and high school circles of friends. Messages exploded in every group chat. Bro, you're not actually getting engaged, are you? Xiao Xia has to be messing around, right? Bye-bye, hold on. I'm heading to your university right now. I'll only believe it when you tell me to my face. Are you serious? I just went through a breakup, and you two are getting engaged? A successful career as a freshman, engaged as a sophomore. Are you riding a rocket to the top? What? I'm going to be sitting at the same table as the richest man in Daxia. Amidst the bombardment of messages, Wei Bai calmly drafted the list. From his high school group of 4, Li Xian didn't have the day off, but Dabao and Shi Wenhao both said they would definitely be there. Xiao Xia and Liao Yinan also accepted reality, gave up on their Thailand trip, and changed their plans to see them in the capital. All 3 of his university roommates were coming. Aside from Zhou Yan, who was howling in the group chat, the other 2 were relatively calm. Wei Bai also invited Chui Peng personally. Chui Peng declared excitedly that he would be at the engagement ceremony even if it rained daggers. The friend's classmates Xie wanted to invite were Zuozua, Sun Xiuxiu, Shun Yueyuan, and Shui Yinxin. She also invited Tian Tian and Zhao Ruan, but they had already booked and paid for a tour to the northwest, so they had to decline with deep regret. As for Hua Jingxian, she was already on the official guest list. After finalizing the list, Wei Bai sent it to Yuli. Yuli glanced at it and forwarded it to her head secretary. The head secretary then synced up with Secretary Zhu from the Xie Corporation. That night, Secretary Zhu couldn't sleep. Over a dozen people, they were going to add this many bright-eyed kids. This time, the guest list had been put together with great restraint. No non-essential people were to be present, which was why the 180-seat long table was still far from full. But the crucial questions were, when should these kids be scheduled for the red carpet? Should they be included in the media coverage? And could they even handle the press on site? The details gave Secretary Zhu a headache. Luckily, young President Yu's head secretary brought her some good news. She said that, young President, you had already spoken with President Yu. After the engagement party, Secretary Zhu would get a long vacation. What's more, young President, you would personally pay for an island getaway or a gift card of equivalent value. Secretary Zhu was so moved, she could practically feel herself drooling. Look at young President Yu. So generous, so savvy. Now look at the one she served. If it weren't for the high salary, she would have quit long ago and gone to work for young President Yu in Lucheng. With the vacation dangling before her like a carrot, Secretary Zhu willingly threw herself into working overtime. It was just a dozen or so kids. She would make sure they were taken care of perfectly. She looked at the list, adjusting the event plan. Some of the names on the list weren't new to Secretary Zhu. These kids had also been at the young Mrs. 18th birthday party. Thinking of their vibrant, energetic faces and remembering how the normally cool and aloof young miss had smiled while talking to them, a smile crept on Secretary Zhu's face as well. It's wonderful to be young, she thought. Monday, whenever he got the chance, Zhou Yin would sidle up to ask about the engagement. Holy crap, you're really getting engaged. It's not a joke. Holy crap, bro, you're only a sophomore. Where's the invitation? Until I have an invitation in my hands. I'm staying skeptical. In reality, Zhou Yin wasn't skeptical at all. This was just the only way he could make himself feel better. Otherwise, how could he go on? The comparison was just too much to bear. The invitations have been sent. You should get yours today. Wei Bai finally replied to a question that wasn't complete nonsense. Or maybe tomorrow. Zhou Yin held his breath. Really? I don't believe you. Huh. What was this kid struggling with so desperately? Wei Bai stopped paying attention to the constantly flip-flopping Zhou Yin. So Zhou Yin went to Ning Buqiao and Pan Kang's ears to continue his Xianglin saw-like repetition. Really? He's really getting engaged. Pan Kang stared. How can this be fake? Ning Buqiao snickered. He hadn't expected Wei Bai to invite them to the engagement ceremony. Due to the nature of her work, if it weren't for this engagement ceremony, Shui Yunxin would have to work nonstop again. Therefore, in addition to blessings, Ning Buqiao also felt a little fortunate. He was going to Beijing with Shui Yunxin. Although it wasn't a trip for two, it made him feel extremely happy and expectant. He wondered when he and Yunxin would have their own engagement banquet. It might be a very small one, with only the immediate family of both sides present. Thinking of such a future, Ning Buqiao felt even happier. Chower, Zhou Yan's voice sounded in his ear. Do you think what I said makes sense? Ning Buqiao, I was just distracted and didn't hear. Zhou Yan, I said, we have to wear suits then. With ties. Ning Buqiao was bewildered. Is it that formal? Pan Kang scratched his head. I've never worn a suit before. As the 3 of them were talking, they were pulled into a group chat. Ning Buqiao noticed that Shui Yunxin had also been pulled into the group, along with Xiao Xia, Li Xuan, and the others. The group owner claimed to be the manager of Lu Cheng Su Yunfang. She sent an electronic brochure in the group, asking everyone to refer to it and send their personal sizes and suit preferences to her privately. She would arrange their attire for October 3 RD. Ning Buqiao was a little at a loss, but he saw Xiao Xia reply in the group. Thanks, Sister Ling. So Li Xuan also immediately sent a message of thanks. Ning Buqiao was even more at a loss. He wanted to ask Wei Bai, but saw that Wei Bai was not at his seat at the moment. Zhou Yin and Pan Kong also didn't quite know what to do. At this time, they were pulled into another group chat. The group name was 10-3 Squad, and the group owner was Xiao Xia. Xiao Xia, hurry up and report your sizes and preferences, otherwise Sister Ling's work can't proceed. Xiao Xia, the clothes were arranged by Man's Annie. Annie is very nice. Xiao Xia, if you want to thank Annie, go and leave more good reviews on her short dramas. The short dramas starring Annie are. In the group, everyone started chatting. Ning Buqiao saw a few people he didn't know, who must have been Wei Bai's good friend from high school. Friends from different periods were pulled into a group to chat together. Ning Buqiao found it a bit novel. Urged by Xiao Xia, he seriously flipped through the electronic brochure. There were many suit styles. He chose for a long time before privately sending his size and preference to Sister Ling. Zhou Yin and Pan Kong also sent their preferences and sizes one after another. Even the attire was arranged. This time, Zhou Yin was really resigned. He's really getting engaged. Soon, he became excited again. I'm going to such a big event, stumbling into a heavenly family. Pan Kong smiled foolishly. In the future, when we drink, we'll have something to brag about. Ning Buqiao was also very happy. He was about to go to a grand banquet with Shui Yinxin. This grand banquet was the engagement banquet of his most important friend in life, Wei Bai. He knew that he was an insignificant little character at this engagement banquet, but he also wanted to witness it and offer his blessings. On Monday afternoon, the invitations were delivered to the friends' hands. The cover was made of textured champagne leather with gold foil edges. A gold-foiled rose pattern was inlaid in the center, and below it was a black embossed and foiled character for double happiness. Zhou Yin held the invitation and opened it carefully, looking at the silk fabric lining and the main card with rounded, gold-foiled edges. His breathing became lighter. Because of this heavy invitation, he truly realized for the first time that Wei Bai's girlfriend was the young lady of a top-tier wealthy family. Can I really go? Zhou Yin whispered. The invitation is already in hand. Why are you still asking such a question? Wei Bai affirmed. Of course. Zhou Yin let out a long breath, uncharacteristically apprehensive. If we go, will we embarrass you? They were a wealthy family, a chaebol. What would people like them be considered if they went? They wouldn't even know where to put their hands and feet. This time Wei Bai was surprised. He didn't expect Zhou Yin to ask such a question. Wei Bai said slowly, Of course not. With you all there, I will feel even happier. Hearing this, Zhou Yan's eyes turned red. Bro, I'm so touched. Wei Bai, what's with this guy? Can you not wipe your tears on me? Finally, after appeasing one monkey, Wei Bai had to appease a second one. The second one was Dabao. Unfortunately, Dabao had a breakup a few days ago. Fortunately, also a few days ago, Dabao met his new goddess by chance. The new goddess was indifferent to Dabao, and Dabao was heartbroken and rejected. At this time, he received the news of his engagement and also received an invitation. Dabao's resentment was as immense as he was, and he was furiously venting on WeChat. Fortunately, Dabao possessed a powerful self-healing ability. Weibo barely had to comfort him before Dabao's mood brightened. I, Dabao, am now at campus heartthrob level. This trip to Beijing, I might just have a romantic tryst under the moon and among the flowers. Bye-bye. If you suddenly can't find me then, don't panic. Don't look for me. Just let me go. Weibo. Comforting this guy was a total waste of effort. The anticipation for October 3rd was overwhelming. But time still had to pass, second by second. After 2 days of packed classes, on Wednesday, Jingxian returned from Beijing with a diamond ring. The two secretly completed their transaction at the entrance of Academic Building 1. Weibo got the diamond ring. Jingxian got Weibo's promise that he would always be good to her, Are promises useful? For many people, perhaps not. But for Wei Bo, this wasn't a promise. It was just a description. Of course, he would always be good to classmate Xie, just like old Wei was to Mrs. Wu, kissing and hugging even at their age. Huh. Why can't people kiss and hug at their age? There's something wrong with that thought. It must be noticed and corrected immediately. Watching Hua Jingxian hurry off to handle other matters, Wei Bo turned and went back to the classroom. His mind was still wandering. The palm of his right hand, resting in his pants pocket with the ring box, was also sweating. Walking back to the classroom, Wei Bo finally realized. Was he nervous? What was he nervous about? The upcoming specialized course? Don't be ridiculous. His right palm grew damper. Wei Bo abruptly pulled his right hand out of his pocket. He was nervous about the proposal. The engagement ceremony was on October 3rd, and they were going to Beijing on October 1st, the first day of the holiday. Wei Bo planned to propose before going to Beijing. That is this Saturday night. Classmate Xie would say yes, right? Wait, why even think about that? Of course, classmate Xie would say yes. Then what was he nervous about? Wei Bo's mind raced, trying to come up with a reason. Finally, he concluded that it was normal for him to be nervous. After all, a marriage proposal is a major life event. Even if the outcome was certain, but when people propose, isn't the outcome always certain? To get to the proposal stage and still be rejected would be too tragic, wouldn't it? He was overthinking it a bit. Wei Bo was completely certain he was nervous. Fortunately, this class was content-heavy. His brain was gradually occupied by knowledge, and his reason slowly returned. The proposal is on Saturday, so why be nervous now? It wouldn't be too late to get nervous on Saturday. In the first semester of their sophomore year, both Wei Bo and Simp Yuman's class schedules had been updated. Wednesday from 4 to 6 p.m. was a time when neither of them had class, so they would study or work together and then have a nice dinner together. But this Wednesday, after class ended at 4 p.m., Wei Bo went back to the dorm with his roommates. Because that morning, classmate Xie had told him she was going to dance practice after class. Wei Bo was very understanding. Dancing was classmate Xie's hobby and her way of relieving stress. Back in high school, classmate Xie often went to the dance studio on weekends to dance. Wei Bo had seen classmate Xie dance to boy band routines. It was truly amazing to watch, both powerful and beautiful. However, lately, classmate Xie was practicing Grand Xia classical dance. Recently, a lot of ethereal, Hanfu-like clothes had appeared at home. Those were classmate Xie's dance costumes. Wei Bo hadn't seen classmate Xie wear them yet. With the engagement coming up, things would be busy. After the engagement, he absolutely had to see classmate Xie in her fairy-like dress. Ring in hand, Wei Bo began to choose a location for the proposal. A private room at a restaurant? A lawn? A campsite? Or a hotel suite? But if he asked classmate Xie to go to those places, coupled with a meticulously arranged backdrop, someone as smart as classmate Xie would guess what he was up to in a single glance, right? Wei Bo wanted his proposal to have more of a surprise element. How about at home? Or in a residential complex? The landscape design of Langxin Gardens was very beautiful. Even classmate Xie had said the designer had great taste. After dinner on Saturday, he and classmate Xie could take a stroll in the complex, preferably later, around 10 or 11, when there would be fewer people in the small parks. They would walk slowly, hand in hand, chatting, and maybe sit on a bench for a while. Then, he would slowly take out the champagne-colored ring box. Designing this scene in his mind, Wei Bo felt more and more satisfied with the idea. Compared to a proposal scene full of flowers, candles, and lights, wouldn't this be more romantic and surprising? Having made up his mind, Wei Bo stopped looking at other venues. He began to look forward to Saturday, the last day of September. Zheng, with the final strum of the guzheng, Simp Yuman stood with her back to the audience, the hem of her skirt rippling outwards in the wind like concentric circles on water. Clap, clap. Hua Jingxian applauded as she walked from the back of the dance studio to Simp Yuman's side. That was beautifully danced. If you were to enter the dance world, Yuman, you'd surely sweep up all the major awards, both domestic and international. There was no exaggeration in Hua Jingxuan's words. Grand Xia classical dance emphasized both form and artistic conception. Many could dance it, but few could truly express its inner meaning. The green waist dance that Simp had just performed began like a magnolia bud on the verge of opening and gradually blossomed by the end. Her figure, rhythm, posture, and the artistic mood she conveyed were all beautiful to the extreme. Even as a woman, Hua Jingxuan's heart was stirred. If Wei Bai were to see it, wouldn't he? Hua Jingxian looked at her best friend's body, more beautiful than a magnolia, in the dance studio's mirror and clicked her tongue in admiration. If you propose to Wei Bai like this, he probably won't even want to be engaged anymore. He'll be desperate to get married right away. Simp said faintly, not of age yet. Hua Jingxian. It seemed the one desperate to marry immediately wasn't Wei Bai, but her dear Mumin. Misty Rose or Red? Simp asked. The reason she had asked Hua Jingxian to come was that she was torn between two dance costumes. Misty Rose had more atmosphere, but Red seemed more sexy. Misty Rose, Hua Jingxian said with certainty. It was as beautiful as the rosy clouds at dawn and dusk. When she danced, it would be like those clouds scattering across the sky. Hua Jingxian assured Simp. Misty Rose is much prettier than Red. In the end, Simp accepted Hua Jingxuan's suggestion. The Misty Rose dance dress was indeed more beautiful. As for the red one, she could wear it for her little turtle in the future. Yes, after finishing their dance practice, the two went to dinner together. Hua Jingxian talked about her management at the Hua Corporation and some recent interesting events in the capital. When the news of your engagement came out, at first, no one believed it. Even after the invitations were in their hands, many still held onto the hope that this was a sign of infighting within the Xie family and that the engagement would surely fall through. And the result? First, President Yu personally admitted it at a dinner party. Then President Xie spent a staggering $300 million at an auction for the Oppenheimer Blue, claiming it was an engagement gift for his daughter, Hua Jingxian said. With that, all voices of doubt disappeared. Simp smiled lightly and joked. President Xie and President Yu coordinate well. Hua Jingxian gave her a look that said, "You'd better behave. How many people have been eyeing you, Miss Xie, hoping to win the beauty's heart? And what happened? They couldn't even get a word with you. But then there's Wei Bai, who came out of nowhere, and now he's about to be engaged to you." Alas, that night, I heard the continuous sound of breaking hearts. Simp, speak plainly. Hua Jingxian became serious. Everyone knows your personality. Many want a marriage alliance, but very few dare to propose it. But Wei Bai, after the Lingxi live stream, became a coveted prize everyone wants a piece of. Quite a few people were trying to dig up information, and they even came to me. Hua Jingxian sneered and said, "A bunch of idiots, rats, their intentions were stupidly obvious." What's even more foolish is that some people, clinging to their so-called prestigious family status, are waiting for Wei Bai to approach them. Thinking of those faces, Hua Jingxian laughed again. For example, my stupid father actually asked me why Wei Bai and Jiang Xiang hadn't visited him yet. Simp was amused, her small, pearly dimples slowly appearing. My father, at least, didn't have any crooked ideas, Hua Jingxian added. I heard that in Hong Kong. There's a young lady from the fourth branch of the Li family who looks and has a temperament somewhat similar to yours. Just a clumsy imitation, Hua Jingxian laughed. That fourth madam dared to say to the media that it would be wonderful to have a son-in-law like Wei Bai. As if hearing a joke, Simp's pearly dimples deepened. That's hilarious. Hua Jingxian shrugged. A fool's dream. You know, some of the old families in Hong Kong are even more. Otherwise, how could there be a publicly acknowledged fourth branch? Simp asked, did this happen before or after the engagement announcement? Hua Jingxian, definitely before. That's why I say President Yu is smart, Hua Jingxian said with admiration. Once the engagement invitations were sent out, all those restless people quieted down. This major move of getting engaged can be said to have solved the crises for both the Xie family and Lingxi at once. Simp's smile faded. Hua Jingxian raised an eyebrow. All right. I know your love is pure and has nothing to do with all this. But wasn't it a convenient side effect? Mumin, you don't want Wei Bai and Lingxi to be targeted by those rats and hyenas, do you? Simp thought for a moment and frowned. Xian, you become bad. Hua Jingxian, sigh. In the month or two since I joined the Hua Corporation, I've realized that the struggles I encountered before were just child's play. The war of succession. One careless move, and it can really be fatal. Simp thought for a moment more, then said seriously, "Be careful when you kill people. Don't get caught." What? Jing Xian? Is this the image she had in Simu's mind? A murderer. She was very law-abiding. If some people died, what did that have to do with her? What? Jing Xian. Fortunately, there's Lingxi. Lingxi will be a great company. Although right now, Lingxi's scale was like an ant trying to shake a giant tree compared to old, established, wealthy families like the Xies and the Huas. But what the future held was already becoming clear. What's more, the head of Lingxi married the Xie family's daughter, and this young Miss Xie was a hopeless romantic, head over heels in love. The emerging tech company had boarded the great ship of capital, and capital, in turn, had changed its course. And she, Hui Jingxian, as Lingxi's earliest investor, naturally saw her net worth and status rise with the tide. Last year, your birthday party. Everything is still fresh in my mind. When we gather again this year, I'm afraid the looks on some people's faces will have completely changed. Simp was very calm. What do they amount to? Hui Jingxian laughed loudly. Exactly, what do they amount to? Hui Jingxian felt that in the past, she and Simp were already arrogant enough, already looked down on those people enough. In the future, they could be even more arrogant, trampling those whining fools underfoot forever. After dinner, she drove Simp home. Hui Jingxian also returned to her own apartment, kicked off her high heels, and collapsed on the sofa. Nothing's as comfortable as your own turf. If it weren't for pleasing the old man, she wouldn't want to stay at the Hua family manor for a single day. She rested for a while. Hui Jingxian suddenly remembered. It seemed there was something she forgot to tell Simp. What was it? Oh, the diamond ring. Actually, it wasn't that she really forgot, because she hadn't planned on saying anything in the first place, only intending to drop a small hint to tease Simp. Since she forgot, she might as well not bring it up. Let the surprise be even more intense. As for Mumin's classical dance proposal, would she tell Wei Bai? Of course not. TSK. Both of them are planning to propose. Who will go first? Hui Jingxian experienced the joy of, I know something you don't know. She felt that she might be even more excited for the proposal than Wei Bai and Simp. If only she could be there to watch it live. Unfortunately, neither of them had invited her. Sigh. Suddenly, she felt so lonely. Maybe she should work? Besides love, money and power could also bring fulfillment and freedom. 50 minutes left. Zhou Yin cheered himself on. Just another 50 minutes of sleep, and then it's break. Pan Kong was deeply impressed. At your age, how can you sleep so much? Sleeping in the morning, sleeping in the afternoon, sleeping in the afternoon then, staying up all night. Zhou Yin, what else is there to do besides sleep? Go to class. Do you think I'm an idiot? This little bit of material, can't you understand it just by flipping through the book before the exam? Why would I need to listen to the lecture? Pan Kong scratched his head. Sometimes I really want to beat you up. Zhou Yin puffed out his chest. Bring it on. Come on. Pan Kong slapped him on the back. Zhou Yin smoothly fell forward, closed his eyes, and pretended to be asleep. The movement was so fluid that Pan Kong was left stunned. Ning Wuchao also laughed at the sight. Only Wei Bai. He hadn't noticed what was happening around him at all. His mind was solely focused on tonight's proposal. After class, it would be 6 o'clock. He and classmate Xie would buy groceries and go home together, cook a slow dinner in the setting sun, and then slowly eat it. While eating, they'd watch a movie. After the movie, it should be almost 10. At that point, he would suggest going for a walk downstairs. Classmate Xie would surely not refuse. They would leave the house, walk along the wide road, and go to the park. When they reached classmate Xie's favorite little park, in front of the osmanthus grove, he would get down on one knee, take out the diamond ring. The plan is very simple, very ordinary. There shouldn't be any problems carrying it out, right? And what could go wrong? Of course, nothing will go wrong. What's there to be nervous about? Stop being nervous. He received a message from Xiaoxia on his phone. Xiaoxia, I'm going back to Lucheng tonight first. On the second, I'll go with everyone from Haicheng to Jingcheng. Xiaoxia, Auntie and Annie Wu are both going over ahead of time. I'll be the group leader this time, so don't worry. Of course, Wei Bai was at ease. He wasn't worried about this matter at all. He was only worried about the proposal tonight. What if classmate Xie doesn't want to go for a walk today? Then should he propose at home, while classmate Xie is lying in bed, slipping the diamond ring on her finger? That doesn't seem like a bad idea either. Xiao Xie. And he said we'll also be getting party favors. I'm so excited. Xiao Xie. By the way, my parents were shocked when they heard I was going to your engagement ceremony. They thought I was being scammed. Huh? Xiao Xie. They even specifically called Annie Wu to confirm, and afterward, they were both utterly stunned. Xiao Xia. Actually, what I wanted to say is the entire Luqing knows you're getting engaged now. Haha. Xiao Xia. Bye-bye. What are you doing? Why aren't you replying? Would proposing at home not be romantic enough? You need green plants and moonlight to set the mood, right? It's better to go out. When the time comes, he must pull classmate Xie downstairs. But this season, he usually just wears a simple t-shirt and sweatpants to walk downstairs. The ring box is a bit big. If I put it in my pocket, will it be obvious? But if I carry a bag? Who carries a bag just to go for a walk downstairs? That would be even weirder. Wear a jacket. Right? It's gotten a bit chilly at night recently. Wearing a jacket wouldn't be too strange. He has a few loose jackets with inner pockets. I'll wear the black one tonight. But it's a proposal. Shouldn't I dress up a bit more handsomely? The black one is too plain. What about the one with the blue stripes on the sleeves? Having not received a reply from Wei Bai for a long time, Xiao Xia figured he was either working or studying seriously. So, Xiao Xia hung his head and started to listen attentively to the lecture as well. He never thought that, even in university, he would still be outcompeted by Wei Bai. After mentally coordinating his outfit for the evening and planning for all the details and potential mishaps, Wei Bai finally noticed the numerous messages from Xiao Xia. Truly Xiao Xia. So many messages, yet none contained any important information. After replying, Wei Bai glanced at the time. 8 minutes until class is over and the holiday begins, which means in 8 minutes he will see today's edition of Classmate Xie. At this moment, the professor was still lecturing, but the classroom was growing restless. Even Zhou Yan, who had been slouched over playing on his phone, shifted to a new position to continue playing. Wei Bai was also restless. 8 minutes. 7 minutes. 6 minutes. Sitting in the very back row of the large lecture hall, behind Sun Xiuxiu and Shen Weiyuan, Xiam Yuman was diligently applying makeup. Light makeup, the kind that's not too obvious but still enhances her features. Zhua Yishuan, who had been listening intently, turned her head and her jaw dropped when she saw Xiam Yuman holding a powder puff. Man, what are you doing? Zhua Yishuan asked. Xiam Yuman. Makeup. Zhua Yishuan. What are you putting on makeup for? In her memory, this seemed to be the first time she had ever seen Xiam Yuman put makeup on herself. Her small dimples slowly appeared. Something important? Zhua Yishuan looked at her small dimples and didn't press further. What could be so important that it would make Man put on makeup? She couldn't guess. But it must be something wonderful. That's why Man is so happy. Something good, and something good that she can't share. This must be related to Wei Bai. Zhua Yishuan completed her deduction. So she stopped asking. Pressing the issue would only result in getting a face full of their public displays of affection. Today was the start of the holiday, and Zhua Yishuan was going back to Lucheng with Xiao Xia. On the 2nd, the day after tomorrow, she would return to Haicheng with Xiao Xia and then fly to Jingcheng. Thinking about the holiday itinerary, Zhua Yishuan felt a sense of anticipation. Last year, their group went to Jingcheng together to celebrate Man's birthday. This year, it has become a trip to witness Wei Bai and Man's engagement ceremony. How blissful! The thought of witnessing her friend's happiness made Zhua Yishuan feel blissful herself. She looked intently at Xiam Yuman's delicate, flawless face, rested her chin on her hands, and whispered, Man, you are so beautiful. She saw her almost every day, yet she still found her so beautiful. Especially today, she exuded a kind of beauty that was utterly spring-like. Zhua Yishuan felt that although it was autumn now, Man was in her own spring. Xiam Yuman's light makeup was complete, and she was now applying the final setting powder. MHM, she nodded. Today is very important. I must be beautiful. Holiday time. The moment the professor said class dismissed, Shen Weiyuan jumped up. I'm going home. My mommy is steaming crabs for me tonight. Sun Xiuxiu lived far away and didn't go home for short holidays like this, but she was also incredibly happy to be out of class. See you guys on the second. See you on the second. See you on the second. A classmate who wasn't in the know overheard them and asked curiously, "What are you all doing on the second?" Yuan lifted her chin. "I'm not telling you." She wasn't about to tell others that she had received a super exquisite and valuable invitation to attend Simp and Wei Bai's engagement ceremony in Jingsheng. However, that didn't stop her from feeling proud. In the entire class, only Xiao, Zhuazhua, and Yuan had received invitations. The others didn't even have the right to know. Finally, class was over. Wei Bai ran to the base of teaching building 2, stopped, and fixed his hair while looking at his phone's reflection. The moment he looked up, he saw classmate Xia walking down the steps with Zhui Yishuan and the others. Wei Bai waved at her. He saw Simp say something to her roommates and then trot over to him. His footsteps stopped, still carrying a bit of momentum. Wei Bo held her shoulders, and suddenly his heart was no longer nervous, because he felt very content, very secure, full and warm. "Classmate Xia, you seem a little different today." As the two walked towards the east gate, Wei Bo said. Simp tilted her head to look at him. "How am I different?" Wei Bo observed her carefully. "The color of your lips? Did you put on lip gloss?" After getting together with classmate Xia, Wei Bo learned that lipstick was lipstick and lip gloss was lip gloss. This shiny, light-colored, transparent textured one should be lip gloss, right? Simp hummed in agreement, without explaining. Wei Bo didn't mind. Classmate Xia didn't wear much makeup, but she often wore lipstick or lip gloss. She said it made her look more vibrant. Wei Bo couldn't actually see the vibrancy that lipstick added. He felt that the most vibrant classmate Xia was during those certain moments. At those times, she was all pink, looking vibrant at a glance. After leaving the school, they first went to the supermarket in their residential complex. "I've ordered salmon, sweet shrimp, and avocado," Simp said. "Let's buy some shredded seaweed and corn kernels. How about we have salmon poke bowls for dinner?" Of course, that would be great. Wei Bo had fallen in love with classmate Xia's salmon poke bowls the first time he tried them. They were refreshing, delicious, and incredibly satisfying. "Do we still have wasabi and sushi soy sauce at home?" Wei Bo asked. Simp nodded. "And lemons too?" Wei Bo, "Oh, so you add lemon too." Simp, "Yeah, just a squeeze of lemon juice." Chatting, the two bought the ingredients and walked home. By now, the sky was already tinged with orange. "The weather will definitely be great tonight," Wei Bo said happily. Simp, "Who says the weather is good at night?" Wei Bo, huh? They don't. When they got home, the salmon and peeled sweet shrimp had also arrived. Simp first steamed the rice, then went to cook onsen eggs and marinated the salmon with sushi soy sauce, wasabi, and lemon juice. Once the onsen eggs were cooked and the rice was steamed, she spooned the rice into bowls and arranged the cooked corn kernels, diced avocado, onsen eggs, shredded seaweed, sweet shrimp, and salmon on top. Just like that, 2 salmon poke bowls were ready. Wei Bo made 2 glasses of passion fruit lemonade and brought them to the mid-century modern coffee table in front of the sofa. When the two of them ate, they often didn't use the dining table, but ate at the coffee table so they could watch one of their favorite movies while eating. Tonight, the movie they chose was Flipped. The movie ended with the scene of Julie and Bryce planting a tree side by side. It was only 8:30. Yes, salmon poke bowls were simple to make and quick to eat, and Flipped was only an hour and a half long. So the time was earlier than Wei Bo had anticipated. At 8:30, there should still be quite a few people in the small park, right? He thought classmate Xia would definitely not want to be watched and posted online. What could they do to stall for time? Pack their luggage. They were going to the capital tomorrow morning, so it was a good time to pack their suitcases. However, wasn't the act of packing suitcases a bit of mood killer? Work for a while. That was even more ridiculous. Watch another movie? Simp suddenly said. Huh. Was Flipped so good that classmate Xia actually suggested watching another one? That would be great. By the time this one finished, it would be almost 11. The second movie Simp chose was Our Little Sister. A house filled with the scent of the sea, cherry blossom tunnels, plum wine, walks, fireworks. Like Flipped, the excellent work immersed Wei Bo. More than 2 hours passed in a flash. By now, it was already 10:40. Wei Bo stood up. Classmate Xia, shall we go downstairs for a walk? Simp blinked. A walk. Could the little turtle have guessed what she wanted to do? no way. She clearly hadn't revealed anything. Weibo nodded. I'm a bit tired from sitting. This reason was very reasonable. So the little turtle definitely didn't know what she was going to do. Her little dimples appeared. Okay, a walk. Siam also stood up. It's been a bit chilly at night these days. I'll go change my clothes. Weibo, all right, then I'll put on a jacket too. He took off his loungewear and changed into a blue-themed autumn outfit that he had been preparing in his mind all day. Finally, he put the champagne-colored square diamond ring box into his jacket pocket. Weibo turned around in front of the mirror, confirmed that it wasn't visible, and felt relieved. Luckily, it wasn't winter now. In winter, classmate Xie always liked to stuff her hands into his pockets. After changing his clothes and securing the diamond ring, Weibo walked out of the room. After waiting for a few minutes, he saw classmate Xie push open her bedroom door and walk out. Huh. Why was she wearing an ankle-length trench coat? Is it necessary to be so bundled up this season? Why are you wearing a long trench coat? Weibo touched her forehead. Caught a cold? Are you cold? Siam. No, but it gets cold at night. Weibo began to doubt himself. Had he remembered wrong? Was it not the end of September, but the end of October? And his engagement to classmate Xie wasn't on October 3rd, but November 3rd? He had originally thought that wearing a jacket himself might be a bit of an exaggeration. He didn't expect classmate Xie to have even put on a long trench coat. However, classmate Xie's temperature was normal, and her complexion looked radiant. It didn't seem like she was sick, just suddenly sensitive to the cold. Maybe her period was coming soon. Weibo stopped dwelling on it. The two of them left the house. Langxin Garden had large green spaces, beautiful scenery, and several parks. Weibo's favorite was the one known as Central Park, which had an artificial lake flanked by lawns and greenery. Siam, on the other hand, preferred a certain small park with its well-spaced landscape gardens and very fluid design. Shall we go to Central Park? How about the small park? The two spoke in unison. Strangely, the first sentence was said by Siam and the second by Weibo. But on second thought, it wasn't that strange. This is because Weibo thought to himself, they both deeply cared about each other's preferences and feelings. Let's go to the small park, he said with a smile. I really feel like going to the small park today. In the dim light, he didn't notice Siam expression stiffen slightly. She agreed. Then let's walk towards the small park. She pulled her phone from her trench coat pocket and, as if in a normal chat, opened her conversation with Hua Jingxian. Siam, change of plans. We're going to the small park near Building 20. Hua Jingxian, who had just driven into the third phase of Langxin Garden, felt a headache coming on. The small park? Could she even hide her car there? Did she have to park somewhere else, then carry the pipa and stool over herself, and then find a place to hide? Previously, she wanted to watch the event live, but didn't receive an invitation. Later, when she did receive an invitation, it was an invitation to play the pipa. Playing the pipa was one thing, but she was also told to hide while playing. How was that reasonable? In this grand mutual proposal, had she, Hua Jingxian, become a nameless third party? Hua Jingxian grumbled under her breath as she drove towards Building 20. While driving, she shared her location with Siam, afraid of running into them. Xian, stall for a while. I need to find a spot. Ma'am, a stroll, naturally, isn't about the destination, but about experiencing every inch of the lights and scenery along the way. Weibo understood this perfectly. But today, why was classmate Xie walking so exceptionally slowly? Let's sit and rest for a bit, Siam said softly. Huh, rest after just a few steps? Weibo found a little strange. But resting sometimes doesn't actually mean resting, but rather sitting down to enjoy the scenery or to talk. Weibo figured that's what classmate Xie meant by resting. The two sat on a bench. The streetlights stretched their shadows long. Autumn evenings were very comfortable, the breeze cool. Just leaning on each other, sitting together like this, Weibo felt happy. But tonight's walk was no ordinary walk. It was a proposal walk. So, as comfortable as it was at this moment, Weibo felt a pull towards a small park. After sitting for a moment, Weibo said, Classmate Xie, shall we go? Siam glanced almost imperceptibly at her phone screen and smiled. I want to sit a little longer. The breeze here is very nice. Huh. Classmate Xie seems to really like this spot. Then why not propose right here? After all, he only wanted to go to the small park because classmate Xie liked it. As he thought this, Wei Bai's right hand slipped into his pocket. The phone screen lit up, and a ready from Hua Jingxian flashed by. Simp stood up. Let's go. Wei Bai's right arm froze. He gave an awkward laugh and stood up as well. Okay. This spot was nice, but it couldn't hold classmate Xia's attention. This meant that the small park was tonight's destined proposal spot. Wei Bai quickly adjusted his mindset, took classmate Xia's hand, and walked in the direction of the small park. Classmate Xia, your hand is a bit warm. Maybe I'm wearing too much. Yeah, it's not quite the season for trench coats yet. The small park grew closer and closer. Wei Bai's heart beat faster and faster. Not from nervousness, just excitement. Yes, he was really quite excited. This surging, fervent pounding his chest was making him a little giddy, making him want to kneel down immediately. But he had already decided on a specific spot. Just on the path at the east side of the small park, both sides were lined with osmanthus trees. The osmanthus was in full bloom, its fragrance filling the garden, coupled with the timely autumn wind. This scene, was it not perfect for a proposal? Even before reaching the small park, a faint scent of osmanthus could be detected. Within the park, the fragrance of osmanthus was even richer. The autumn wind, the osmanthus blossoms, a bright moon. Wei Bai's heart was both agitated and excited. The time was right, the place was right, all that was missing was the right person. This damn osmanthus fragrance. Hua Jingxian wasn't allergic to floral scents, but hiding behind the bushes, the fragrance was too strong, and she couldn't help but want to sneeze. But she had to hold it in, otherwise she would lose her best friend. So why wasn't Simp here yet? Hurry up and dance, hurry up and finish. She wanted to go home. Home. Finally, she's here. Hua Jingxian sat properly, holding her pipa. She calmed her heart and centered her breath, reminding herself not to play. What is the meaning like ambush from 10 sides? He finally walked onto this path, breathing in the rich fragrance of osmanthus. Wei Bai's right arm once again reached into his pocket. Take it out, then kneel, and finally open it. An excited heart, a trembling hand, his right hand gripped the diamond ring box, just about to take it out. Suddenly, Wei Bai's eyes widened, his body froze, and his mind went blank for a moment. This, classmate Xia, is so beautiful. 5 seconds ago, or maybe 10 seconds ago, Wei Bai's eyes had witnessed such a scene. Under the moonlight, classmate Xia stood with her back to him, her long windbreaker slowly slipping off, revealing a splendid and soft gossamer dress. The color of the dress was like the rosy clouds at the edge of the sky, shimmering with a flowing light. Classmate Xia, wearing the rosy cloud dress, looked like a fairy under the moonlight. Wei Bai was as shocked as if his pressure points had been struck. He knew classmate Xia had many beautiful dance costumes, and he had seen her wear them. But he had never seen this one, nor had he ever seen classmate Xia wearing this dress. It was truly too beautiful. Just the sight of her back was beautiful enough to make him subconsciously hold his breath. Just then, zheng, a note from a pipa, coming from nowhere, split the moonlight. Wei Bai looked toward the sound, but saw no one. So late, how could there be the sound of a pipa? Could someone be practicing an instrument? Please no. Classmate Xia is dressed so beautifully, and he happens to be proposing. This is the right person moment. So, to the classmate practicing the pipa, could you please automatically leave? Zheng, ding dong. Zheng, dong. What's with this person? They started playing for real, but it sounds quite nice. Could it serve as background music for a proposal? When classmate Xia turns around, he will kneel and then propose. Thinking this, Wei Bai's hand once again reached into his right pocket. But the pipa's notes swayed, the moonlight swayed, and the person swayed too. Amidst the pipa's sound, Wei Bai saw classmate Xia step and turn, the corner of her mouth lifting into a smile like melting spring water. Her sleeves swung past, like rosy clouds brushing the moon. Wei Bai's right hand, resting in his pocket, suddenly froze. Classmate Xia, is she dancing so beautiful? Zheng, ding ding, dong. Her ankles and arms moved with the pipa's notes in an extremely rhythmic manner, like an osmanthus blossom worshipping the moon. Her waist bent, like a drooping lily of the valley. Her foot touched the ground, drawing a semicircle, the hem of her skirt rippling out like a wave. Weibo was mesmerized. Following the Peepa's melody, the ripples spread into his heart, circle by circle, and reached right in front of him. The beat of the Peepa grew more and more urgent. She was dancing before him. Her arms swept by, seeming to graze his face. A turn of her head, and their eyes met. Her steps quickened. Weibo's heartbeat also quickened. Her dance steps were as gentle as the wind. Weibo's heart softened like dew. In the air, an invisible atmosphere spread from the hem of her skirt. Separated by a small distance, their breaths were already intertwined. The Peepa's sound faded. Something like a lingering charm flowed from her waist to her arms, freezing at her fingertips. Everything fell silent. In Weibo's ears and before his eyes, there was only classmate Xie's pair of eyes, full of unspoken words, and her slight panting. She was a fairy under the moon, but at this moment, her eyes held only him. Weibo suddenly came to his senses and dropped to one knee with a thud. The diamond ring box that he had wanted to take out several times from his pocket was finally brought out. It was a small, square, champagne-colored velvet box with rounded corners. This time, it was Simp Yuman's turn to be stunned. The sly glint in her eyes and the air of strategic planning that had permeated the atmosphere suddenly vanished. All that remained was a dumbfounded classmate Xie. She looked at Weibo kneeling before her on one knee, her mind a complete blank. Click! Weibo took a deep breath and opened the ring box. Inside, a simple yet luxurious diamond ring lay quietly. On the smoothly curved platinum band rested a main diamond. The diamond was cut in a regular and soft shape, its light transparent and pure. There was no intricate design, just a simple cut, yet it shimmered with a low-key starlight. Thump thump Xie Yuman heard the sound of her own heartbeat. Weibo took a deep breath, pushing the diamond ring box forward a little more. Wait, what was he supposed to say next? Classmate Xie, marry me. But wasn't that a line for a marriage proposal? The problem was, what was the proposal line for an engagement? He had actually overlooked this question before. Now he had to think of a line immediately. What to say? Classmate Xie, please get engaged to me. Isn't that too blunt and lacking in substance? Classmate Xie, please start a new chapter of life with me. No, what is a new chapter of life? That's too vague. Classmate Xie, are you willing to give me this chance to spend a lifetime with you? That's even worse, so cheesy and shallow. What to say? What on earth should he say? Someone save him. With the diamond ring resting in his palm, Weibo's heart, mouth, and brain were at war. He couldn't just say nothing, could he? He definitely had to say something. Yes. Just then, he heard a joyful, smiling yes. At the same time, he saw classmate Xie extend her slender fingers. Yes. She said it again. Her dimples seemed to hold the moonlight. Her voice was as gentle as water. At this moment, Weibo finally realized. The time, the place, the words, none of them mattered right now. The only thing that mattered was them, at this very moment. With that simple yes, his heart suddenly calmed. It was a calmness enveloped in security and love. Like the moonlight was softly wrapping around him. He gently took the ring out of the box. Supporting classmate Xie's wrist with one hand, he took the ring with the other and slid it from the tip of her left ring finger until it settled at the base. The band and the diamond refracted scattered light under the moon, reflecting on classmate Xie's jade-like finger. The sight made Weibo's heart skip a beat. It's beautiful, he said with a smile. Simp Yuman blinked gently. Shouldn't you be saying, classmate Xie, please marry me? Weibo. Can I say that? Let me at it now. Weibo. Simp Yuman suddenly interrupted him, staring at him seriously. Are you willing to marry me? Thump. Something struck Weibo's heart, and in an instant, everything became clear. So the beautiful dance in the smoky purple gauze dress tonight. Could it be that classmate Xie had originally planned to propose to him? Ah, but how could a girl propose to a guy? Yet Weibo knew classmate Xie was just that different. So, just like last year when they confessed at the same time. This year, they had chosen the same time to propose to each other. Unbelievable. But this was a love destined by fate. At that moment, the BGM from a famous idol drama started playing in Weibo's mind. Amidst this imaginary BGM, the corners of his eyes curved up. Idol. It was just an engagement. But, to them, what difference was there from marriage? They had the blessings of friends and family. They had two hearts in love. Whether it was an engagement or a marriage, which proposal line was used, none of it mattered at all. What mattered was, they were in love. Right here. Classmates, yeah. I will use all my time to love you. Why didn't I say that just now? It's okay if I say to my heart, classmates, yeah, can feel it too, right? The moonlight is so beautiful tonight, Weibo said softly. Yes, Yumin was very happy. It's beautiful. Achoo, someone there. Only then did Weibo remember the Pipa music from just now. Classmates, yeah, the sound quality of the Pipa music sounded like a live performance, so... Weibo draped his windbreaker over classmate Xia's shoulders and looked toward the direction the sound had come from. Yes. Yumin nodded lightly. Achoo! Achoo! Behind the bushes, Hua Jingxian let out two more consecutive sneezes. Weibo started to laugh. She was probably overwhelmed by the scent of osmanthus, right? Holding it in for so long, this performer had it tough. The performer, Hua Jingxian, finally felt better after a few sneezes. Hearing their conversation, she stood up. That was killing me. Noticing she was still holding the pipa, she placed it on a chair. Remembering the scene she had just witnessed, a brilliant smile spread across her face. Congratulations, you two. Weibo was a little surprised. He thought classmate Xie had hired a professional musician. He never expected that the one playing the pipa would be Hua Jingxian. Sister Xian, thank you for your hard work. She had to help him order and deliver the ring, accompany classmate Xie, and endure the strong osmanthus fragrance. So loyal, she must sit at the main table at the engagement banquet. But their engagement banquet only had one table. Ahem. Thank you, Sister Xian, Weibo said with a smile. All right, my job is done. I can retire with honor. She was exhausted and wanted to hurry home to rest on her soft, springy bed. As for these two, Hua Jingxian, holding the pipa in one hand and a chair in the other, gave a suggestive smile. May you two continue to have a wonderful night. Weibai? Yumin. Of course, it would be wonderful. The dance dress she was wearing was beautiful and also very easy to tear. The pipa was really heavy. The chair wasn't light, either. Wasn't either of them going to help her? Although making an exit like this would look very cool. But her arms were in a sorry state. Hua Jingxian cursed inwardly. I'm truly indebted to Yumin in this life. Where did I park my car? Is it this way? Why are the roads in the third phase so confusing? Can't bend over. Must maintain a cool posture. Those two should still be watching my retreating figure, right? The unsung hero, always giving so selflessly without asking for anything in return. But can't the two of them just come and help me? This pipa is so damn heavy. Do we really not need to go help Sister Xian? I think the pipa and the chair must both be quite heavy. Yumin knew Hua Jingxian well. She smiled softly. Compared to the weight, she probably wants a cool-looking exit more. Weibai looked at Hua Jingxuan's struggling figure in the distance, a little puzzled. Is that so? Yumin nodded. They were going home. Going home to have fun tearing a dress. When they woke up, September was over. On the first day of October, Weibai and Yumin were heading to the capital city. Her younger aunt was overseeing the engagement ceremony. The two of them only needed to show up on October 3 RD. They were going to the capital early to meet Xie's family. This was an order issued by President Yu Wei, relayed by the younger aunt, and to be executed by Weibai and Yumin. The family dinner was set for tonight. According to the younger aunt, Yu Wei and Xie Jieyu would also be attending. This was the first time Weibai would formally meet Xie's family. Ms. Wu took it very seriously and had prepared gifts long in advance, all of which were sent to Xie's residence in the capital. They didn't need to bring gifts, just a few days' worth of clothes and daily necessities. The flight was at 10 in the morning, so it was still early. Weibai unhurriedly packed his luggage and the fragments of the misty rose-colored dress from last night's activities. The dress was beautiful, and it had died a thorough death. Weibai felt he had wronged this dress somewhat. Then again, why did Xiao always buy these kind of dresses where he couldn't find the zipper, couldn't figure out how to take them off, and would accidentally tear them? Was it really not on purpose? Thinking about it this way, things seemed a bit suspicious. Xia, is this also a dance dress? Wei Bai saw Xie put a bundle of red fabric into the suitcase. Judging by the material and the size when folded, it was no proper dress. Xie Yuman blinked. It is one of the dance dress candidates. It was eliminated, so it can only be worn on other occasions. Wei Bai had wanted to ask what kind of occasion would require wearing such a dress. But he didn't, because he had already guessed. His gaze fell on the red dress, his thoughts drifting far away. This one would probably tear easily without even using much force, right? So, Xie was doing it on purpose. This cunning Xie. At noon, Wei Bai and Xie Yuman landed smoothly in the capital. The one who came to pick them up was not the quiet driver, but Secretary Zhu herself. Wei Bai had met Secretary Zhu a few times. He had been poised from the very first meeting, and now he greeted her very naturally. Secretary Zhu sighed inwardly. Wei Bai was now successful and famous, but that approachable, youthful aura about him hadn't changed at all. He was even more affable. As for herself, however, a year ago, when she first met this young man, she still held a condescending attitude of looking after him for the young mistress's sake. Now, their situations were completely different. Wei Bai already stood at a height she had to look up to, and this young man was only 20 years old. Among young people in their 20s who could be like Wei Bai, not feeling inferior when in a low position and not arrogant when at the top, such a state of mind, ability, and luck. This was true future potential. What were the thoughts now of those who had laughed at the young mistress a year ago for dating an ordinary person with no background from a small place? In the Hongqi State limousine, after chatting with Secretary Zhu for a bit, Wei Bai saw a message from Ms. Wu on his phone, asking if they had arrived. Wei Bai sent Ms. Wu a message to let her know they were safe. Ms. Wu got it. Your grandpa, dad, uncle, and auntie and I will arrive tonight. Ms. Wu, I'll take them around the capital for a few days. You two go about your business. Don't worry about us. Wei Bai, where's my brother? Ms. Wu, he's busy. He'll come on the 3RD. Wei Bai, okay. Ms. Wu, all the door-knocking gifts have been sent to my precious girl's house. Take them all with you when you go tonight. Don't leave a single one behind. Wei Bai, oh, precious girl. When did Ms. Wu start calling student Xie that? Just as this question flashed through Wei Bai's mind, he turned his head and saw student Xie's phone screen, showing a chat with Ms. Wu. Ms. Wu, precious girl, Ani has made you some small wontons. I had your younger aunt put them in the fridge. Have Bai Bai cook them for you in the morning. Wei Bai. Student Xie was the precious girl, and he was the one to cook the wontons, right? Was this right? On the way, Secretary Zhu told the two about some details of the engagement ceremony. Wei Bai listened attentively. The more he listened, the more he felt it was detailed and thoughtful. He didn't even have any suggestions to make. Thank you for your hard work, Sister Zhu. Wei Bai said seriously. Xie Yuman also smiled lightly. Thank you for your hard work, Sister Zhu. Secretary Zhu almost lost her grip on the steering wheel. Thanks to Wei Bai, she had actually received a thank you for your hard work from this young miss. One must know, the young miss was actually very much like CEO Yu, with absolutely no one in her eyes. But now, the young miss was different. Her whole person had softened, become gentle, like solid ice melting into water. Secretary Zhu sighed in her heart. Whether it was the Xie Corporation or the Xie family's young miss, they were all changing because of Wei Bai. What hard work, Secretary Zhu's tone also lightened. After your engagement ceremony is over, I'm going to Thailand for a long vacation. The entire trip will be paid for by young CEO Yu. Wei Bai smiled. We're also going on vacation after we get engaged to Simporna. This was something he and student Xie had planned long ago. For days, to Simporna to see the glass-like sea and seals, and to lie on the beach and sunbathe. Chatting about the vacation, they soon arrived at New City International. After dropping the two of them home, Secretary Zhu returned to the company. Wei Bai and student Xie also returned home. As soon as he entered the door, Wei Bai was a little surprised. The last time he came, he saw this place as a large flat owned by an overbearing CEO in a Korean drama, with a black, white, and gray color scheme, cold everywhere. Looking at it now, it was still a black, white, and gray color scheme, but it was visually very comfortable, even revealing a strange sense of warmth. I made a few small changes, Xie Yuman said softly. Wei Bai couldn't even tell what had been changed. but everything just felt much more comfortable. Entering, Wei Bai saw 3 dishes and a soup on the dining table. The soup was still steaming, obviously freshly made, and the auntie who cooked had not left a single trace in this home, truly coming and going without a shadow. The two sat down to eat. After one bite, Wei Bai was even more surprised. Auntie Lin's cooking. Xian Yuman nodded. Yes, I invited Auntie Lin to Beijing for a few days to attend our engagement ceremony. Wei Bai's heart softened. His student Xie was just such a little girl who seemed cold and aloof on the outside, but was actually soft-hearted and meticulous. After a comfortable meal, Wei Bai went to look at the pile of door-knocking gifts by the entrance. According to Ms. Wu, these gifts were all selected by her and his younger aunt. Among them were separate gifts for student Xie's grandparents and parents. Ms. Wu had instructed Wei Bai not to give them to the wrong people. Wei Bai checked them one by one, matching them with Ms. Wu's description to deepen his memory. Student Xie, tell me about your grandparents. Wei Bai said. Xian Yuman thought for a moment and summarized in one sentence. One is Zhou Puyuan from Thunderstorm and Wu Suanfu from Midnight, and the other is a staunch supporter of Zhou Puyuan and Wu Suanfu. The expression was overly sharp and overly easy to understand. Wei Bai was curious. Then they don't object to our engagement? The little pearly dimples smiled deeply. Zhou Puyuan is old. Wei Bai was quite looking forward to meeting Zhou Puyuan, since he and student Xie started dating. All he had received were blessings and support, not a here's 5 million, leave my daughter. He knew this wasn't because he was so outstanding, but because of student Xie's determination. Therefore, he could be not at all nervous, and even quite curious, about meeting Zhou Puyuan. The Xie family was the most famous plutocracy in Daxia, an old aristocracy, whose wealth and status were not comparable to a company like Lingxi, which was still in its infancy. As the pioneer of the Xie family, Zhou Puyuan was once a formidable figure in Daxia's financial world, leaving behind many legends in the business world. This former helmsman of the Xie family had now retired behind the scenes and rarely appeared in public. Wei Bai had seen reports about old Master Xie's retirement in the financial media. The media claimed that the Xie Corporation had smoothly completed the transition of power, and old Master Xie's eldest daughter-in-law, Yu Wei, had become the true head of the Xie Corporation. At 5 in the afternoon, Wei Bai and student Xie changed into the suit and cocktail dress prepared by the younger aunt, and were personally driven to the old Xie family residence by Secretary Zhu and a driver. The car stopped at the entrance of a hutong. Wei Bai and Xian Yuman got out, followed by the driver and Secretary Zhu, who were carrying gifts. It was then that Wei Bai realized this was unlike any other hutong he had seen in the capital. It was exceptionally clean and tidy. There was no traffic in the entire lane, not even electric scooters or bicycles. There were only butlers and servants standing solemnly. Wei Bai guessed that the middle-aged man in a Zhongshan suit waiting at the entrance was a butler. This was because Secretary Zhu was very respectful towards the man, and even classmate Xie nodded at him. Secretary Zhu and the driver stopped at the entrance of the hutong. Wei Bai and Xian Yuman followed the butler through the main gate into the Sihiyuan. To his surprise, the interior didn't have the typical square courtyard layout he was familiar with. They passed through a narrow, green-bricked alley that ended at a grand and imposing black-lacquered gate. After passing through this gate and another square courtyard, a complex that looked like a scenic park suddenly opened up before them. Wei Bai was amazed. How could this be called a Sihiyuan? It was practically the summer palace. But having to walk for so long just to get through the door must be tiring, right? They finally arrived at the south-facing main hall. The floor was paved with green bricks, and the space was adorned with screen partitions, lacquer paintings, palace lanterns, and a large tea table set. The high black and red beams, carved with dragons and phoenixes, seemed to reach into the clouds, giving it a magnificence akin to the Forbidden City. Wei Bai had already adjusted well by this point. It was just that the place felt deep and cold. Even the air felt cool as he breathed. Wei Bai couldn't help but admire Zhou Puyuan inwardly. Could anyone actually live comfortably in a place like this? Classmate Xie, these vases and screens. They aren't real antiques, are they? Wei Bai whispered. Xian Yuman nodded. Yes. After a pause, she added, see one you like? We can take it with us. Wei Bai? Better not. He wasn't too fond of having such things at his own home. If he bumped or chipped one, wouldn't he lose sleep over it? But where is everyone? Wei Bai asked. Simp, we haven't reached the dining hall yet. Just then, they heard a voice from behind them. My dear, why are you standing here? Hearing the voice, Wei Bai turned around and greeted Xie Jiayu with a smile. Xie Jiayu himself couldn't quite describe the feeling in his heart. Subjectively speaking, he felt quite unhappy. Objectively speaking, this son-in-law Wei Bai was indeed quite good. Sigh. For his dear daughter, his opinion didn't seem to matter much anyway, did it? Besides, no matter what, once they entered the old residence, they were family. In front of the butler, he had to make a good showing for Wei Bai. Xie Jiayu smiled and started chatting with Wei Bai, appearing like they were old friends despite the age gap. Wei Bai was surprised, but more than willing to play along. Dad, Xie Jiayu is so ruthless. How could he do that to his own nephew? Xiaobao is my only son, your only grandson, and Xie Jiayu just ruined him. Xie Jiada roared in anguish before the 8 immortals table. His son could no longer carry on the family line and would never even experience the joys of being a man. Thinking of the doctor's sympathetic gaze and his son's despondent state, Xie Jiada wanted nothing more than to kill Xie Jiayu. What do you want to do? Old Master Xie sat steadily in the main seat, his voice calm yet commanding. I want him dead. Xie Jiada's expression was frantic, his voice cracking. Old Master Xie rested his right hand on his dragon head cane and raised his eyes. How should he die? I. After stammering for a moment, Xie Jiada's fervor instantly deflated. Idiot. Old Master Xie lowered his eyes. Useless. How could he have fathered such a useless son? On the other hand, Xie Jiayu, whom he had also considered useless, was ruthless and tough, just like him. Since one is ruined, just have another, Old Master Xie said faintly. That's about all you're good for. 2 streams of tears flowed from Xie Jiada's eyes. Ximing, Dad is useless. Dad has failed you. It was at this moment that Xie Jiayu, Wei Bai, and Simp arrived at the dining hall. Oh, Xie Jiayu glanced at Xie Jiada. Why are you crying? Are you moved that your niece is getting engaged? Hate. Such immense hate. Xie Jiada looked at Xie Jiayu, and all he could think of was his ruined son and his wife, who was hospitalized from a fit of anger. Xie Jiayu, don't be so smug. Xie Jiayu, what do I have to be smug about? Oh, you mean my son-in-law. This is the fine young man Yuman found for me through her own choice and love. And as you know, I, your older brother, am a big supporter of finding love freely. Bye-bye, sit here. Xie Jiayu introduced Wei Bai. This is your grandfather, this is your grandmother, and this is your second uncle. With a well-behaved expression, Wei Bai greeted them and sat down next to classmate Xie. The atmosphere at the 8 immortals table was strange. Wei Bai remained perfectly quiet, not saying a word. They drank their tea in silence for several minutes. Yu Wei arrived and took the empty seat between Xie Jiayu and Simp. A line of servants began to serve the dishes. The food was surprisingly delicious, and most of the dishes were ones Wei Bai had never seen before. The meal was exceptionally quiet. Apart from the clinking of serving utensils and some faint chewing, there was no sound at all. It was as if all personality had been swallowed by this ancient mansion. No one spoke, so Wei Bai focused on eating. Classmate Xie kept putting food on his plate, and every piece was especially delicious. So tasty. As for the resentful glares from across the table, Wei Bai simply ignored them. A wealthy family, brothers fighting, he got it. But why was that second uncle across from him alone? Were his wife and child? Didn't classmate Xie also have a female and a male cousin? Wei Bai found it a bit strange, but he wouldn't ask any questions. He just focused on his food. What is this soup? It's so good. I'll have another bowl. He saw Old Master Xie put down his chopsticks. Everyone else followed suit. Wei Bai went with the flow and did the same. The family banquet ended just like that, without a sound. After the meal, Xie Jiayu and Yu Wei were called away by Old Master Xie. Wei Bai and Simp crossed a courtyard, went out a gate, walked through an alley, crossed another courtyard, and went out another gate before they finally left the old mansion. Wei Bai let out a heavy sigh of relief. That was not an easy meal to get through. There was no outright hostility, but it was definitely not comfortable. No wonder classmate Xie didn't like coming to the old mansion, and Xie Jiayu also live far from home. How was that a meal? It was clearly an execution. Was it tiring? Only after they got in the car did Siem Yumin start chatting freely with Wei Bai. Huh, actually, it was all right. Wei Bai smiled. The food was delicious. Besides, I think in that kind of situation, talking would have been even more tiring, right? Siem Yumin gently rested her head on his shoulder. In the past, she would always feel exhausted and oppressed when she came to the old mansion. But today, with her little tortoise, she didn't feel worn out at all. Instead, she had finished the meal quite comfortably. Looking back, everything she once feared and loathed was nothing more than a paper tiger. Bye-bye. Because of you, I've become braver and stronger. Classmate Xie, why weren't your aunt and cousins here? Wei Bai asked. Siem Yumin blinked. I'm not sure. Maybe something came up. Wei Bai had only asked casually and didn't think much of it. The next day, arranged by her aunt, a styling team came to their home. They spent the better part of the day trying on clothes and makeup looks. Wei Bai didn't need makeup, so it was mainly classmate Xie trying on dresses and makeup looks, while Wei Bai was in charge of appreciating them. An engagement ceremony wasn't a wedding, so there were no wedding gowns among classmate Xie's choices, but rather several formal gowns of different styles. The commonality was that they were all red. Every dress classmate Xie came out and was so beautiful it made Wei Bai forget to breathe. So beautiful. It was a beauty as if seen through a soft focus filter. Does this one look good? Yuli asked. Wei Bai nodded. It doesn't look so good. Yuli, what about this one? Is it a bit too fussy with this set of jewelry? Wei Bai, it looks great. Yuli, the Cheongsam seems nice too, but it might not be grand enough. Wei Bai, it looks so good. Yuli, you say every single one looks good. Wei Bai, huh? But they really do look good. In the end, Yuli made the final decision, choosing a heavily embroidered, voluminous bridal-style gown for the main ceremony, like a rose blooming amidst thorns, dangerous and enchanting. Correspondingly, Wei Bai's suit was black with design elements of a rose. Seeing the perfect couple standing together in their formal attire, Yuli was incredibly satisfied. Next, Yuli selected the outfits for the after-party, a white Cheongsam with fresh green pearl embroidery and a white suit. After choosing the outfits, Yuli had a meal with her daughter and son-in-law, gave them some instructions for the engagement ceremony, and then left. It was just Wei Bai and Siem Yumin at home again. Classmate Xie, we're getting engaged tomorrow, Wei Bai remarked with a sigh. Siem Yumin, engaged tomorrow? Yeah, we're getting engaged tomorrow. Classmate Xie, are you nervous? Wei Bai asked. Siem Yumin's eyelashes fluttered. She wasn't nervous, but a certain little tortoise seemed to be. Otherwise, he wouldn't keep repeating, we're getting engaged tomorrow. More than nervous, I'm full of anticipation. Siem Yumin looked at him and said earnestly, I'm very much looking forward to tomorrow. Thinking back, ever since getting to know her little tortoise again, it seemed she often felt this sense of anticipation. Looking forward to the bell ringing after class, to him appearing at the classroom door. Looking forward to school letting out on Friday, to walking home together with their backpacks. Looking forward to meeting on weekend mornings, to jogging and eating breakfast together. Looking forward to becoming adults, to a confession. Looking forward to holding hands, to kissing. Looking forward to falling asleep together, to waking up together. Looking forward to creating together, to singing together. Looking forward to getting engaged. Student Xie used very twice to express his anticipation. Weibo had to use 3. I'm also very much looking forward to tomorrow. It was magical. Talking with student Xie would relax him, and all his nervousness would disappear. Actually, the nervousness just now was brought on by his aunt. After all, his aunt had instructed them that several people who were not convenient to appear on the guest list would be present tomorrow, and they should maintain their composure when they saw them. His aunt had mentioned the names of those few people, and hearing them made Wei Bo feel unwell. Compared to student Xie's calmness, he seemed as if he hadn't seen much of the world. However, thinking about it again now, everyone is human, and it's fine to face them with a calm mind. Putting aside this shock, Wei Bo was much calmer. He began to, like the past few days, purely look forward to this engagement ceremony. He was well aware that this was a very important occasion for both the Xie family and Ling Shi. But for him and student Xie, this was just their engagement ceremony. Tomorrow, they would officially become an engaged couple in the presence of their family and friends. Student Xie, we're getting engaged tomorrow. Chen Tiansheng, if you dare to go to CM Yuman's engagement banquet tomorrow, we'll get a divorce. In the lavish and empty hall, Xie Xinyan looked at the man sitting on the sofa playing games, her voice sharp and high-pitched. Chen Tiansheng impatiently exited the game. Xie Xinyan, do you really not know what kind of situation your family is in right now? Your dad was kicked out of the board of directors. Your brother was crippled by someone. What does your family have left? You a fool. Divorce. Let's get a divorce right away. Whoever doesn't want to is a fucking dog. When they first got married through an alliance, Yue and Xie Jiu hadn't had a falling out with the second branch of the Xie family yet. When CM Yuman was in a good mood, she would even call Xie Xinyan's sister. And now, when people outside mention the eldest daughter of the Xie family, who would think it's Xie Xinyan? The marriage alliance was for nothing. If it weren't for his concern for old Master Xie, he would have divorced Xie Xinyan long ago. Chen Tiansheng, you're heartless. Xie Xinyan grabbed a cushion and threw it at Chen Tiansheng. Chen Tiansheng raised his arm to block the cushion and said angrily, Xie Xinyan, I've given you enough face, haven't I? Divorce. The day after tomorrow. Fine. Chen Tiansheng, you said it. Don't regret it. A twisted malice appeared on Xie Xinyan's face. My family is not doing well, but how much better can your family be? You're a good-for-nothing who only knows how to play games all day. If you had even a little bit of ability, you wouldn't have been forced out of the company by your brother. You don't know shit, Chen Tiansheng shouted. I left on my own initiative. I'm starting my own business now. Starting a business? Xie Xinyan sneered. Isn't it because you treat CM Yuman as a goddess, but it's a pity that the goddess's boyfriend has an ordinary family background? Now you're jealous seeing that he has succeeded in his business. You're the one who's jealous of CM Yuman. Don't drag me into it. Chen Tiansheng's eyes were full of disgust. Didn't you think you married better than your sister? And now, you don't even have the face to go to her engagement ceremony. This sentence hit a sore spot for Xie Xinyan. She's making such a big scene just to show off, isn't she? I won't give her this chance to step on me. Chen Tiansheng sneered twice and shouted, Wang Ma, iron that gold-threaded suit for me. Find the invitation. I'm going to attend the engagement ceremony of the eldest daughter of the Xie family tomorrow. Wang Ma hurried over. Second young master, you didn't receive an invitation. What? Chen Tiansheng was shocked. How could I not have received one? He was CM Yuman's only brother-in-law. How could he not have received an invitation? Xie Xinyan laughed, tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, and said proudly, The invitation from the Xie family will definitely be sent to me. If I don't go, you can't even dream of getting in. Seeing Xie Xinyan's confident look, Wang Ma braced herself and said, The family really hasn't received any invitation to the engagement ceremony recently. Impossible. Xie Xinyan's eyes widened, and then she muttered, Could it have been sent to my parents' home? Hey, Dad, CM Yuman is getting engaged tomorrow. Is my invitation with you? What? No invitation. Our whole family didn't get an invitation. October 3 RD. Capital City, in front of the main European-style building. The media entered in an orderly manner. The young reporter had just entered the industry and, with a little help from his family connections, had come to see the world. Uncle, is the property right of the main building really private? Facing such a magnificent and iconic building, the young reporter's eyes widened. How could that be fake? Old who reminded him to lower his voice, and then said, It said that Yue specially bought it for Wei Bo and the eldest daughter of the Xie family's engagement ceremony. The young reporter took a deep breath. Just for an engagement? Old who said in a low voice, Yes, just for an engagement. I told you when we were coming, a lot of important people are coming today. Some of them we can't photograph, and even if we did, we couldn't publish it. If you see them, just pretend you didn't. Don't make a big deal out of it, you hear? The young reporter nodded. I know. So many media outlets. The young reporter's head swayed from side to side. Let's stand here. This is a good spot. Old who pulled him back. Didn't you see the markers on the ground? You stand where they tell you to stand and shoot from there. Don't push to the front. If you offend someone today, your career is over. The young reporter nodded repeatedly in fear. 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The hosts appeared at the entrance of the red carpet. All the media reporters present recognized them. The middle-aged couple walking arm in arm with an air of transcendence were Xie Jiyu and Yu Wei. Today, the couple personally stood at the entrance of the red carpet to welcome their guests. The young reporter nervously looked at the guest list in his hand. In a moment, the first to arrive would be Wei Bo's family. After Wei Bo shot to fame, his family background also became well known. The young reporter knew that Wei Bo came from a small city. His father was a small business owner, and his mother was a music teacher who, with the help of Wei Bo's musical talent, debuted in middle age and became a diva-level singer. Such an ordinary family was now connected by marriage to the top wealthy family in Daxia, the Xies. What would they say when they met later? Would the scene be very awkward? A black commercial vehicle stopped in front of the European-style buildings. A driver in white gloves got out and opened the door. A large family got out of the car one after another. Wei Song helped Old Master Wei, getting out last. Xie Jiyu took a few steps forward to personally help Old Master Wei and patted Wei Song's shoulder. Wu Ruxin enthusiastically hugged Yu Wei. "You've gotten even more beautiful." Yu Wei returned the hug lightly as a welcome to her in-law. Wu Ruxin then introduced Wei Bo's uncle and aunt to the couple. In the media area, a group of reporters frantically clicked their shutters. The young reporter, holding his camera, was a little dazed. "What are you doing? Hurry up and shoot." Old Hu urged. Oh. The young reporter finally came to his senses and snapped a series of pictures. The awkward and distant scene he had imagined didn't happen at all. On the contrary, it was exceptionally harmonious. It seemed that the wealthy families were not so unapproachable after all. There would be many young ladies from wealthy families today, right? Would any of them fall for him and hold such a grand engagement ceremony for him too? Every person who entered next was someone who frequently appeared in financial news or online discussions. Jiang Xiang of Lingxi, who had been a hot topic recently, also walked the red carpet with his team. He walked very fast, and the young reporter didn't get many pictures. After that came an unspeakable couple. All the media quickly lowered their cameras and silently watched the two walk down the red carpet. The young reporter's movements were a step behind again. Old Hu cursed him in a low voice. "Be sharp. Didn't I tell you there would be important people with sensitive identities?" The young reporter's palms were sweating as he held up the camera. He had thought the important people were some retired big shots, but he didn't expect them to be currently in office. Was this really an engagement party? The young reporter originally thought he had seen the world, but now his legs felt a little unsteady. Old Hu shook his head inwardly. Still too young, hadn't seen any truly big scenes. In his experience, the real top figures among the top figures wouldn't walk the red carpet at all, but would appear directly at the main table. "Hold your camera steady." Old Hu patted him. "The grand finale is here." The grand finale. Weren't those two just now the grand finale? Taking a deep breath, the young reporter tried his best to hold the camera steady. The black commercial vehicle came to a stop, and a group of young boys and girls jumped out of the car one after another. "Wow, we're really walking the red carpet. Sister Xian, you go first, I'll follow you." "Damn, why is there so much media?" "Hey, I'm Zhou Yin." Looking at this group of magnificently dressed young men and women, the young reporter suddenly realized that this must be a group of young masters and ladies from wealthy families. He didn't expect them to be the grand finale. The young ladies of wealthy families were indeed all very beautiful. However, a few of them clearly looked like they were a couple. Among the rest, were there any who didn't care about family background like the young Miss Xie? He didn't want to be a reporter anymore. Main building, top floor. Several stylists were surrounding Xie Yumin, putting on the final touches. Yuli stood by her side, watching her become more and more beautiful and mature, feeling a wave of emotions. "You've grown up in the blink of an eye, and you're about to get engaged." Yuli wanted to reach out and touch her head, but was afraid of messing up her hair. "Yes," Xie Yumin responded softly. "Auntie, don't worry, I will be happy." Yuli smiled. "That's true. Let alone getting engaged. Even if she got married and had children, she would still be her precious baby." The makeup and styling were finally complete. Xie Yumin lifted the hem of her red dress and stood up. The rose-red dress on her was more beautiful than a real rose in full bloom. Bai will definitely be startled when she sees this in a moment. Yuli laughed. Is this a fairy? She imitated Wei Bai's tone perfectly, and two small dimples appeared at the corners of Siemyuman's mouth. Wei Bai, dressed in a black suit with a dark rose pattern, stood before the floor-to-ceiling windows on the top floor, looking at the scenery. To be precise, he was looking at the people on the ground, whose faces were indistinct, and at the snipers deployed on the roofs of two particular buildings. He never imagined that the first time he would see a live sniper would be at his own engagement party. Was this the top-tier security Secretary Zhu had mentioned? This went far beyond the scope of security, didn't it? Main hall of the main building. Guided by a staff member, Xiao Xia took her seat. She was surrounded by familiar people, so she felt very much at ease, until she looked up and saw a famous entrepreneur from the mobile phone industry. Xiao Xia tugged at Liao Yinan's arm and whispered, "Look, so many important people." Liao Yinan's back stiffened. His idea of an engagement party, like last year's birthday banquet, a group of people mingling, eating, and drinking. The actual engagement party, while it was also a group of people eating and drinking, the guest list wasn't quite right. Where were the young people? Why was it all bigwigs? He was sitting at the same table as these bigwigs. Was this right? Beside him, Xiao Xia spoke again. That person looks like the premier. Liao Yinan. Is it possible that he is? Oh. Xiao Xia quickly took a sip of water to calm her nerves. Really? Liao Yinan? Really? To his right are the mayor of Jing City and the mayor's wife. Xiao Xia quickly took another sip of water. All right then. Goodness. Man had told her to just be casual. But how could she possibly be casual now? Rationally, Xiao Xia felt she should sit properly and not gawk. But out of curiosity, her head kept turning. As she did, she saw many familiar faces. Among them, the one wearing a diamond tiara. Wasn't she a princess from some country in Europe? And that one in all white, you could tell at a glance they were a tech expert. Everyone here is either rich or powerful, Xiao Xia whispered in Liao Yinan's ear. We get to see all these people for free. What a score. Liao Yinan. Sometimes, he really envied Xia Xiaodong's mindset. We'll have a grand engagement party too someday, Liao Yinan said in a low voice. No, thanks, Xiao Xia patted her chest. This is too intimidating. Wait, who said I was going to marry you? She was almost tricked by this Liao Yinan again. If not me, who will you marry? Liao Yinan pressed. None of your business. Xiao Xia covered her wildly beating heart with one hand while grabbing her glass with the other, gulping down water. On the stage, the host was saying something, but she wasn't listening at all. Liao Yinan's words, our engagement party, echoed in her ears. Her parents didn't even know she was dating. So, she would have to at least graduate from college before she could get engaged, right? What was she thinking? Why was she even thinking about getting engaged? She did not want to get engaged so early. Standing by the floor-to-ceiling window, Wei Bai saw that all the guests had entered the main building. He turned and sat on the sofa to rest. Just then, the door in front of him was pushed open from the inside. The first to walk out was Yuli, but Wei Bai's gaze went straight past her to the person behind his aunt. It was a version of classmate Xie he had never seen before. So beautiful. He couldn't find any words to describe it. See? I told you he'd be stunned. Yuli laughed. He was stunned yesterday without full hair and makeup. Today he's even more so. Wei Bai came back to his senses and smiled openly. I can't help it. Classmate Xie is just too beautiful. Yuli gave him a playful, reproaching look. I'll go downstairs first. You two follow Secretary Zhu in a bit. Wei Bai nodded. Don't worry. Simuman took a step forward, linked her arm with his, and quietly stood on her tiptoes. Very handsome. Yeah. Wei Bai had originally thought the dark rose pattern was a bit too flamboyant, and the hairstyle the stylist had given him also made him a little uncomfortable. But if classmate Xie thought it was handsome, then it must truly be handsome. Wei Bai raised a hand and gently stroked classmate Xie's soft, long, curly hair. He smiled. Then we're a perfect match. Her small dimples caught the flowing light. A world-class orchestra was playing meditation from face. From a 13-meter-high dome hung an ancient crystal chandelier. After Yu Wei gave the welcome speech, the music changed key and the lights suddenly dimmed. Only 4 spotlights remained, falling on the rear of the hall. Xiao Xia, who had been focused on her pre-dinner dessert, immediately stopped eating and, like everyone else, looked toward the end of the long table. A Midsummer Night's Dream began to play. A transparent platform slowly rose. In the spotlight, Xiao Xia saw her two good friends. Wei Bai was in a black tuxedo with peaked lapels, which seemed to have some kind of dark red pattern on it. Xiam Yuman, for her part, wore a passionate red wedding gown, its skirt like a blooming flower. Ah,